Hey everybody, it's Friday night. Hopefully you guys can hear me because it's a good thing I noticed, and I'm trying to check like every time now, but sometimes I open OBS and for some reason it doesn't turn the microphone off, but right here where it says device, like where your audio device is, it'll be like no device, and I'll just be like, there is a device, it's right there, but for whatever reason, because I just made a video earlier, like I recorded it and that came out okay. But when I opened it up again, it was off. So hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I guess they could hear it. They'd be saying no sound.
They'd be saying no sound by now, right. I would think. So hey, everybody, what's going on?
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
We're going to have a little chat and have a few drinks before we go out. We got to go out of the club tonight.
Yeah.
So I have to remain relatively sane because I got to drive.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I said, we technically don't have to leave until 9:30. So we have, I mean, I'm not saying we can stay until 9:30. I'm just saying that we don't have to, like, if we go off, then we can, like, fucking get ready. I'm mostly ready. I have makeup on and stuff. I could, like, but I already know what I'm going to wear and shit like that.
The thing is the longer I'm on this show, the more I'm drinking.
I told you, though, you have to, like, exercise some restraint. I don't want you, like, going all, like, aping out like you sometimes do. And shouting and jumping up and down like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Oh, Honky Kong comes back.
Honky Kong.
Yeah.
Or the abdominal snowman.
Yeah, the abdominal snowman. What was the other one that I made up? Fucking Honky Kong.
I mean, that was the best one.
The abdominal snowman.
I still want to make a Honky Kong t-shirt, like with you, but like pixelated.
Vanilla Gorilla.
Oh, that's right. Vanilla Gorilla.
Those probably already exist anyway.
I'm sure they do, but it's like it would be funnier if it was like you. If I could, could get back into like drawing like I used to.
Yeah.
I could do like a cartoon of you looking like a gorilla, like.
Yeah, Vanilla Gorilla.
That would be super funny. Danny Rolling said, "Tom, what's the top speed on your new lawnmower?"
It's probably only about 10. Go slow. No
wonder it takes such a long time.
No, you can't go fast anyway under that uneven ground.
Well, yeah.
And I got a damn and I'm not even going 10. I'm probably like going 3 or 5. Because you have to get up close to fences and go around obstacles and what the fuck was that about? And then computer over here screwing off.
It's not. It's just like went off. It went to sleep.
It's a good mower though. It's a Husqvarna. Riding on it, orange. I'm riding that thing like that. I got my fucking hat cocked back like I'm a farmer. people driving by waving. Dudes fucking give me thumbs up. That's a good mower. It says, yeah, I know I got a good mower.
Not a lot going on in this neighborhood, as you can tell. Look, that guy's mowing. Look.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that dudes are fucking sporting whatever kind of mower they have. If they got those John Deere mowers, they're green. See, the John Deere ones are green, and then the other ones were red. I forgot what brand that was. They were
are the Honda ones red?
They probably are, but that's not the ones I was seeing. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it right
Craftsman.
Now. Yeah, there you go.
Craftsman. They're the red ones. And then I got the orange one.
I got the orange one. That's obviously the best.
Yeah, I got the orange one. It's got headlights on it.
I think most of them do now.
Yeah, they all got headlights on.
Lady Vesuvius says...
deluxe ones do.
Yeah, it's deluxe.
Yeah.
Lady Vesuvius says, you totally suit the blue hair, Jenny. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is, like I said, I've been buying lots and lots of wigs, but of all the colors that I bought, I like the blue one the best.
Yeah.
And I think the red one's my second favorite, but
they all look good.
I like them so much that I actually bought 2 of these that are exactly the same. And I have one that's like a darker blue that's a little bit wavy, which I don't quite like as much, but I think blue looks nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Next Dimension Media. Hey guys, got my t-shirt this week. Looks awesome. I wore it during a business Zoom call this morning.
Oh,
awesome.
cool. Yeah,
send some like advertising out there.
Yeah, thank you. I forgot which one I sent to him. I think it was Snake Plissken.
I think there were 2 of them.
There were 2 of them.
Didn't
I think there were 2 of them, right.
Yeah.
And then, yes, that's good. There was a Snake Plissken and probably a Canon Films.
Yeah, that's right. Well, wait.
I think so. Or I think it was a Canon Films.
Yeah, it might have been. I can't remember now either. Zach says, hey, y'all, saw your Blowout review this morning. And yes, I was excited. I thought you would be. That shot at the end of Travolta holding Nancy with the fireworks in the background is so beautiful. Yeah, it really is. And speaking of Brian De Palma movies, A friend of the show, Louie, sent us just today.
Yeah.
Check this out.
It's a steelbook.
Steelbook edition of the Untouchables.
Right.
I love that cover, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know
Fantastic.
if he's in the live chat.
I don't know. I don't usually see him in the live chat unless he's lurking and not talking. But it's like, if you're out there, Louie, thank you very much. Because I haven't seen this movie for years and years. And
Louie
I really
just sends me awesome movies.
Yeah,
even if I've
always.
already seen him before, I hadn't seen him in a long time. We'll do it. We'll review it. But some of my favorite movies were movies that Louie sent me.
Yeah, we actually, maybe we'll watch it like tomorrow night, and then we can talk about it on Sunday.
He's got good taste. I mean, he'll show me some shit I've never seen before, and I'm like, oh yeah, that shit was fucking classic. He earned my respect with Pain and Gain when he sent me that one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this dude here fucking knows what movies he's seen. And he tried to kept getting me to see Collateral. He sent it to me, and we couldn't get past the first 5 or 10 minutes of Collateral. And then I got past fucking Collateral, and Collateral was a badass flick.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that like we just had to be patient.
You got to be a little bit patient, and then like all of a sudden you find out you realize that Tom Cruise is in this movie, and he's an assassin, and he's a dick, but he's kind of cool, and Tom Cruise plays a good villain. You know, I know he doesn't like that, but you know he likes to be heroes all the time and shit. Fucking
boring.
He's like a Mary Sue, you know. But
be a bad guy, embrace it.
Yeah, his villains are a lot better. They are. I liked him as Lestat. A lot of people didn't like him as Lestat, but I liked him as Lestat.
Richard the Hutt says, hey, Jenny, did you get a chance to check out Heaven Falls Hard? I did. I listened to it this morning, and that is quite awesome. So thanks for recommending that, because I had actually never heard of that before, which, you know, so that's cool. I always like new stuff. But, yeah, I really liked that a lot, to be honest with you. Zach says, Connery's Oscar win. Yeah, that's right. What I love about De Palma's movies is how much fun he has with filmmaking as a medium. I just wish he put as much attention into his writing as his images. Well, you know, you can't have everything. You can't have everything. Zach said the films he writes himself usually almost always make no sense. Yeah, Tom Cruise does play a good villain, says John Smith. His best role, to my mind, is Lestat. Yeah, I've always liked him more, and I know we've had this discussion before, but I've always liked him a lot more, like, when he's playing a bad guy. Like... Or when he's playing just like a shithead or like an asshole, you know what I mean? But she doesn't do all that much. Jack Torrance says, I'm back. Uh-oh. Please don't hit me with a rogue mallet.
I liked him as Lestat. I liked him in Collateral as that assassin. He was pretty good in that science fiction movie where he played a clone. That was, what was that name? What was that one?
Wasn't there one called Oblivion?
Oblivion, yeah. It turned out he was a clone of himself, and there was a lot of them, and that the Earth had been taken over by aliens.
Like, we don't need more Tom Cruises, okay? I'm just saying.
But
like, you're so
haven't
cool,
seen that in a while.
I
don't think the Earth was taken over by aliens. They told him. He thought it was. Turned out the aliens were actually humans. He was working for a supercomputer or something, wasn't it?
I don't remember. Like, I remember liking that movie, but I don't really remember much of what happened in it. It didn't make, like, a huge impression. But, yeah, well, okay. So, are they making a new Interview with the Vampire? Like, a movie or a series? Because in my YouTube feed, like, a thing came up that was, like, a new trailer drop, and I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I was like, wait, are they remaking Interview with the Vampire? Are they going to do it kind of...
Oh, it'd be fucked up. They can't make that now.
Well, I don't know. Like, the thing about... I don't know if it's a series. I don't know what it is. So...
I don't think they'd be able to make that.
Well, I'm not going to, like, shit on the project, like, before I've even seen it. I don't even know what it is. Like I said, I just saw, like, a trailer.
I would have to see who was involved in it, who was making it. You know, who was directing and writing it, and because depending on who you give that to, they will fuck that up.
Well, the thing about it though is that I feel like nowadays, if you're gonna make a project like that, I think the people that are going into it are kind of like, well, we have to do this right, or everyone's gonna bitch. You know what I mean? Like, something like that that's so iconic. No. I mean, not always, but it's just kind of like, it does seem like they at least try to put some, like, thought into it, you know?
I think you're overestimating who's out there. They're fucking crazy. Look what they did to the new Lord of the Rings. Everybody says that that's a piece of shit. Fucking, they'll take anything that has an iconic name and just fuck it up. you know.
John Smith said there's an upcoming Vampire Chronicles TV show. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I always thought it'd be better as a series because it's like really complicated.
Well, that if it was Vampire Chronicles, and that means it would have to cover all the books. Which, where do they start? What order are they going to tell things in? They're going to fuck that up.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, they're going to fuck that up. There isn't enough talent out there to do those books justice.
He says that about everything, and then like later on, like some stuff will come up and it's really good, and he'll forget.
That's why I'm never fucking disappointed, because I already, the starting point is no, it's going to be fucked up, because it usually is. But if it has talented people writing it and acting in it, you'll know through the PR campaign. If the PR campaign is fucking crock of shit, you'll know.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know because, like I said, I just saw the trailer come up and I didn't have a chance to watch the trailer, but I was just kind of like, oh, I guess they're making a new one. But like I said, I don't mind that because as much as I liked the 1994 movie, I was like, it would have been nice if they would have actually, like back then, made the whole trilogy. That would have been neat. Instead of doing Interview with the Vampire and then doing Queen of the Damned, which was kind of like Queen of the Damned / Vampire Lestat, and everything was like crammed, like two big giant novels were crammed into one movie. And it wasn't really, I mean, it wasn't as bad as I remembered, but it's still not that good. So I kind of wish that they had taken more time unfolding the story. So I think a series is probably the best way to go with that kind of stuff because...
Although rewatching Queen of the Damned, it wasn't as bad as I remembered it.
Well, I just said that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was still not good, but...
I wouldn't say... I wouldn't... It was good. It was good, but just good. It was okay.
It was just a dumb idea to try and cram both of those giant books into one movie. Like, why on earth would you do that? I don't know why you would do that. You're just shooting yourself right in the dick.
Well, I think a lot of it was to make a buck on fucking movie soundtracks.
Well, yeah.
A badass album came from it. I had that album. I liked it. It had a lot of good songs for like nu metal type goth. It was like nu metal songs.
Yeah.
Which they were pretty good, you know. But certain aspects of the movie they got right, and then a lot of it they got wrong. It's just real hard to do Anne Rice stuff, and I don't think they can do it because Anne Rice, from today's point of view, would be extremely fucking unwoke, and I don't think they would allow it. They would have to fucking wokeify it, and then it would be fucked up because it was subversive. It was subversive. They were subversive books to begin with, even back when they came out. And they wouldn't like that. I mean, Lestat ate black dudes. He would go to the fucking hood to just eat black dudes. He said he said that fucking nobody noticed when they came up missing and shit. There was a lot of aspects about that book today wouldn't fly.
But the thing about it is like that's just not her. I mean, that's her commenting on. That's not racist or anything like that. It's just true. I mean,
yeah, but in the mindset of fucking of filmmakers today, they can't even think like that. They would have to reverse all that. It was just no. I wouldn't trust them. You'd have to have a real talented crew to tell that story and to tell it accurately with the same kind of panache that the fucking books had, and they would see it as a glorification of all that stuff. So they couldn't I don't think they could tell that story. It just, not well. It would be a piece of shit. They would make it real lukewarm and real bleh. And that's what they would do with it. They would think it was great though. It would be all fucking stunning and brave and shit. But there's just nothing there.
Zach said, lost a lot of respect for Anne Rice after learning how she handled fan fiction of her work. Which, don't get me wrong, fanfics can be toxic as fuck. Yeah, I get that. But, yeah, I had her. She seemed like an okay person overall. But, yeah, she didn't really like people writing fanfic of her stuff. Which is, I mean, it's not like, nobody, if you write fan fiction, you're not selling it. You're not kind of like jumping off, riding their coattails. A lot of people just write it like Zach said, like for practice. So, because they like the characters. So, as long as you're not making money off it, I don't see what the issue is. Yeah, John Smith said, Queen of the Damned starring Stuart Whatever Happened to Him Townsend. Was he actually in any other movies or no? That guy?
Yeah, I haven't seen that guy since, huh?
I mean, I'm sure he must have been in some other things, but I don't know if he was. I mean, he was okay in that movie, but
He wasn't bad.
But like I said, it wasn't like terrible, but it just didn't really make an impression. And it was just, like I said, it was a stupid idea to start with, like to cram both.
There's a lot of shit about Interview with the Vampire that was fucking, I don't know if it translates well just to the screen. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think Lestat was turned into a vampire at what, 16? So he looked like a 16-year-old always, did he?
I thought he was 18.
18, 16? Okay.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've read the Vampire Chronicles, but I thought he was 18 or 19.
Think how ridiculous that would actually look on camera.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and we talked about that a lot, particularly in regards to Stephen King, is that, like, you know, I'm not... If you're making a movie out of a book, it doesn't have to be exactly like the book, because shit that works in a book doesn't work in a movie. Like, you just have to know, like, what things to change and what things... You know, as long as you get, like, the spirit of the shit, it's fine.
Right. You have an 18-year-old fucking... What appears to be an 18-year-old boy in a suit with all this money, with an army of lawyers fucking handling all this business, and he's a rock star, and he rides around on a Harley-Davidson in down New Orleans. It's just, you know...
I mean...
And then he intimidates people, and which, you know what I mean? It's just...
Well, they really have to get the right actor for that. I mean, obviously they couldn't get somebody that looked like an 18-year-old, like a gawky high school student. But I've seen some 18-year-olds that looked like adults or like looked like people in their 20s. I went to high school with some kids that looked like they were older, so you could totally pull it off. Yeah,
but the only ones that could do what he's being described doing and getting away with in a social situation would be like fucking dudes that are doing cycles of steroids and shit. You know, even though he's not described as being very big, but a lot of those guys that looked adult were fucking enhanced. Fucking, you know, I know the dudes that we went to high school with were.
Dave Kennington
Some
says,
dudes were huge, 6'2".
First time watching live. Ooh, welcome.
Who is this?
Dave Kennington. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. By the way, speaking of vampire films, have you seen Stakeland? I've seen it, yeah. Yeah, it's actually really good. I haven't seen... Wasn't there a sequel? I didn't see that, but the first one's actually really good. Said it was like underrated classic. Yes, it is. I agree. Rebecca says, hi, folks. Feels like forever since I got to be here during the majority of a live show happening, finally. Yeah, because I think... Didn't you come like Wednesday night, and it was like right when we were signing off, like after 3.5 hours or something like that. Let's see. Anne Heche died. Yeah, she did.
Anne Heche.
Yeah, she was the one. She was married to Ellen DeGeneres for a while too. She was in a car wreck, wasn't she? Was it a car wreck?
I don't know.
And then she was in a coma for a little while.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
John Smith said Stuart Townsend was the original choice to play Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. They replaced him at the last moment because he was a massive bell end.
What's a bell end?
It's like a shithead or like an asshole. Yeah. That's one of my favorite British terms. A bell end. Seems when Townsend and Charlize Theron broke up, he disappeared. Yeah, maybe she was the one like getting them some roles. Oh, that's where I'd seen him before. Okay, I knew I'd seen him in movies. Lee Warner said he played Oscar Wilde in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Okay, I knew I'd seen him in at least one other movie. I don't remember much of that movie, but I do kind of, now that you say that. Tom Holland would probably make a good Lestat. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know, like, of all the youngsters that are out there. Yeah. The youngsters. The Utes. I don't know, like, which one of them. I'm sure there's got to be one. And let's see. Best timing ever. The chick from the Psycho remake. Yeah. Anne Heche was in... she was in a bunch of other stuff, too, but... Yeah, that was another... Let's talk about that, like, the fucking Psycho remake. Did you see that? It was Gus Van Sant, right? Like, directed it?
I didn't see it.
Well, you didn't miss anything. It was completely pointless because it was a shot-for-shot remake of the original Psycho.
So why?
Except, that's what everyone said when it came out. There's like, and what was the point of that again? Like, why would you... Like, you know, remaking Psycho was, I mean, from the jump was probably like a stupid idea. But then if you're going to do that, if you must... Why make it exactly the same except modern and in color?
Dumb. That'd be like remaking Gone with the Wind.
Like why? Like why would you do that? Strangely, no one has remade Gone with the Wind, have they?
It's boring.
Well, yeah, but that's more of an argument to remake it. Maybe somebody can make it more exciting.
That's like some shit your grandma would watch.
Let's add some car chase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
Civil War and
some
car
anachronistic car chases.
Yeah.
And explosions.
Explosions.
Well, I mean, the house burns down at the end. That's exciting. Oh my god. Yeah, John Smith said Anne Rice's choice for Lestat was Rutger Hauer. Yeah, that was who she was thinking of, like when she wrote the character. So, I mean, I could see that, and you know, she wrote it, so I'm not going to argue with her. But I always pictured somebody not. I mean, I love Rutger Hauer; he's rad. But it's just kind of like I always pictured somebody not so. I pictured somebody more like graceful, more like a ballet dancer or something like that.
It's homosexual vampire porn.
Well, yeah.
That's what that was. It was her sexual fantasies.
I didn't really like picture somebody as kind of like gruff and kind of bulky as Rutger Hauer. I pictured somebody more.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was thinking, you know. I don't know what I was thinking.
Back in the old days, back in the 80s and 90s, I thought that Peter Murphy would be good. Like when he was blonde. Remember when he went
back when he was good looking?
Back when he was good looking?
Yeah.
Like before the meth took over?
Before the meth got
like
fast.
when, and particularly like in 1990 when Deep, when his album Deep came out, like when he had that white blonde hair.
Yeah.
And like I actually saw him live then, and I always thought he would make a great Lestat back then. Like if they'd had made it back then, he would have been a great Lestat. That's who I pictured.
Or the Joker.
Yeah. Now I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know what he looks like nowadays. Didn't Bauhaus just get together again and like tour again recently?
He looks like he did when we saw him last time we saw him. He looks just like that. Worse, more pot bellied.
More pot bellied.
He's got a pot belly. Yeah. Low T, motherfucker.
Although the weird thing is that I think the other day I saw David J. and he looks almost exactly the same.
Yeah. Probably took care of himself better.
I mean, that bitch never seems to age.
Those real hard drugs like that can fucking just wreak havoc on a human body. I mean, shit. Look at some of them girls out there fucking selling themselves. They're fucking 22 and they look like they're fucking 62. The meth just fucking eats them up.
Sorry, I saw Rebecca's comment and I just laughed. She said the point of the Psycho remake was just to put Viggo Mortensen in front of me to get inappropriately turned on in a cinema full of strangers. I totally forgot Viggo Mortensen was in that. I only saw it one time because I felt like I had to, and then I was like, I saw it and I was just kind of like, okay, Gus Van Sant. I don't really see what it just seemed like a stunt.
David's here. What's up, David? You going out tonight?
Yeah, it's Memento Mori.
Yeah,
he's probably going to Mannequins, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Memento Mori at Barbarella. Have you seen the new Sandman series? I have not. Not yet. Actor Brother Theodore, a.k.a. Uncle Reuben from The Burbs, could have played Lestat. I guess? Yeah. Maybe. He was a little old, though. Well, see, that was another thing, too. Like, by the time they got around to making the Interview with the Vampire movie, Rutger Hauer was probably a little bit too old. Because, like you said, in the book, Lestat is young. I mean, he was turned when he was, like, a teenager or, like, early. I want to say he was 18. I think he was 18.
Yeah, maybe. I thought it was, like 16, but...
I mean, he could have been younger. Like I said, it's been ages since I've read it.
I haven't read it in a long time, but I was like, I was kind of like, he's that young? How could he? He's that young, and how could he? Looking that, I just, I figured that'd look awful strange. But they weren't living in society.
Yeah.
They were just.
Well, and they were also supernatural beings.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah.
Human stuff didn't apply.
They were real ancient. But they didn't really have to interact with anybody. They would, just, when you read the book, they could interact with people, but they didn't have to. They had people doing stuff for them, lawyers and shit. Depending on how much money they had, steal people's houses by turning them into vampires. Where Anne Rice got that from fucking Scream Blackula Scream.
Yeah, I just talked about that on one of my videos that I put up the other day. Dave says, not sure where I'm going. Well, if you go to Barbarella, we'll see you there, because we're going to Memento tonight.
Yeah.
And somebody was talking about, they're talking about the remake of Nosferatu. Yeah, with that, the one with Klaus Kinski, right? The one with the the poster that I have back on the year. Well, they made like a sequel to that too. Like Crybaby brings it up, Nosferatu in Venice, 1988. Said that also had Klaus Kinski in it. It was good. We were just talking about Klaus Kinski the other day, the creepy motherfucker. He should always play like fucking monsters and shit like that.
Did I see that one? I don't think I saw that one.
I don't remember seeing that one either. I mean, we saw the first one, obviously, the Nosferatu remake, but you know what I mean? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You seem like you're kind of like spacing
sleepy.
out.
Yeah, a little bit sleepy.
Why are you sleepy?
I woke up early.
Was it? What time was it?
About 8.
Oh. I woke up at 6:30.
Yeah, I woke up about 8. Yeah, but I went to sleep at about 2.
I fell asleep at like 10:30 or 11, but I woke up a couple of times. Yeah. Guamocon says, fitting you guys are talking about remakes, and right next to that Nosferatu poster is the Suspiria 2018 one. Yeah. Honestly, I really liked... I'm going to say this right now. Obviously, I liked the original Suspiria. It's one of my favorite horror movies ever. But I did actually really like the remake. And to be honest with you, I like that poster better than the original Suspiria poster. Because I kind of wanted an original Suspiria poster, but the official Suspiria poster is kind of boring. Now, there have been like some really beautiful ones that like artists have made. Like I have like a whole folder full of pictures of ones that different graphic designers and stuff made like over the years, and you can buy those as posters, but usually they're limited edition and they're really expensive, so I wouldn't mind like having one of those. But the official poster for Suspiria is like not that exciting, you know. I mean, considering how fucking cool and like visually iconic that movie is.
What's more ice?
Yeah, they could have done like a better poster than that. And to be honest, like right there, like right, you can't see it, but it's like because it's like on that wall. But I have a poster for another Dario Argento movie, Profondo Rosso, and it's another one where I like the movie a lot, but like the poster is not really that exciting. I mean, the poster kind of looks a little bit like the one for Vertigo, to be honest. So I'm really into like poster art, man, and it really like it hurts my little graphic design heart when there's like this really, really super awesome movie and like the poster is just kind of like, meh. You know what I mean? I'm like, make a fucking good poster, man. That's why I was like so excited when I saw the cover of this like Untouchables here, right here, because I was like, ooh, look at that. I love that fucking cover. That's so cool. Thank you, Guamocon. Just sending a little gift to y'all because it's deserved. Thank you very much. Thank you. John Smith said, Suspiria was the first Argento movie I ever saw. It blew my mind. Yeah, I don't know. It might have been the first one I saw too, now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, it was the first one that I was kind of like aware that it was like Dario Argento, you know what I mean? Don the Bomb said, just showed my Mrs. Wes Craven's People Under the Stairs. She thought it was great fun. Yeah, that is a really fun movie and a little bit underrated, I feel like. I thought I heard they were remaking that too, but I guess they never got around to it. Guamacon said, Suspiria 2018 is my favorite depiction of magic and witch shit. Yeah, I really liked... And I think that I said even before I knew that they were remaking Suspiria, I was like, man, how would you even remake that? Because it's like, if it doesn't look the same, like visually, then it's not Suspiria, but then like you change it to it, you know what I mean? It's just like, I was like, I don't understand what the point of it. But then like when they remade it and I went to see it, he went like in a completely different direction with it. And even the story, I mean, the story was similar, but, you know, it was the spirit of the story was the same, but he like changed pretty much everything else about it. And I think like in hindsight that was probably the best way to go, because I think if you were gonna like make it too much like the original with like the visual style and everything like that, people would just be like, well, what was the point of that? Because you're just like ripping off Dario Argento's movie. So that was really kind of like the only way. So I liked it like a lot more than I thought I would, because that was one of the movies that I was like, oh, they should never remake that one, because what would be the point of it? But you know what I mean. Ever seen Santa Sangre? Yes, actually, I did a review of that. I can't remember if I did a review of it on my Flickers of Fear series or if we did a movie retrospective of it. We might have done a movie retrospective of it, because I think I remember Tom being like, this is the weirdest fucking movie ever. But I remember I saw it a long time ago, like, because me and a bunch of my friends in high school, we were all like the weirdo like goth punk kids, and we were super super into like weird fucking movies, like, and this is like late 80s early 90s, so it was much harder like to see a lot of these movies. It's not like now where you can just like get them on streaming or whatever. And we lived in Daytona Beach, so the theaters, we had a couple movie theaters. We had like a nice one and then like a dollar one, and you know, art films and stuff like that don't really ever play there. So if there was a movie that you wanted to see that was kind of like an art film, you always had to wait like a year or two, like until it came out on video, and then maybe the video store would have it, but a lot of times not. So it was kind of a pain in the ass. And then there was kind of like, for a little while, there was like this little place. It wasn't even a movie theater really, but it was just like this little, it was like a little coffee shop, and then they had like a back room that had like a little bit of like a janky theater like set up back there, and they would show, you know, art films and documentaries and stuff like that like once a week for like a couple of bucks. So, and it was only, you know, it was like less than a mile from my house, so sometimes I would like ride my bike down there and like go watch movies and stuff during the day. But so it was really hard to see stuff. But Santa Sangre was one of the movies that I think we either rented it or I saw it on cable, because I remember everybody saying like, you have to see this weird fucking movie. And I think I probably watched it at my friend's house, because we used to like rent weird ass movies all the time. And a lot of times I'd rent them, and then like back in the old days when you had the dual deck VCRs, and you would rent movies and then you'd like, you know, make a copy of it if it didn't have macro vision protection on there. But you could, there was ways to get around that, because they used to have a thing where they wouldn't let you tape it, but you could find out how to get around it. Dave Kenningson says, Phenomena was my first Argento. That was a weird one. I did a review of that one, too. Amazing film. If that chimp didn't win Best Supporting Actor that year, the Oscars are utter balls. What a weird premise that movie was. I just rewatched it, like I said, because I did a review of it for Flickers of Fear not too long ago, and I said, God, I forgot how fucking strange this fucking movie was. It's almost kind of like two movies like squished together. It's like a Giallo movie kind of, but then it's also like this really weird paranormal movie about a girl that can like psychically communicate with insects. Jennifer Connelly's in it, and Donald Pleasance is in it, and also there's a chimp in it, and there's a bunch of insects, and she can like, it's crazy. It's a weird movie. John Smith said, I know they had to change Jennifer Connelly's character's name to Jennifer so the chimp didn't freak out and rip her face off. That's not funny, because they actually will rip your face off, but... yeah. Okay, just the premise sounds awesome. Of what? Of Phenomena or of Santa Sangre? Because Santa Sangre is, like, really fucking weird. Camp Guy said, I watched Scanners and Blowout this week. Looked for Escape from New York, but they didn't have it on my streaming service. Escape from New York is on Shudder.
You've never seen Escape from New York?
Right now.
He's never seen Escape from New York? God damn.
Well, I mean, wait, have you, or you just wanted to watch it again?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure, well, Shudder just added a shit ton
Escape from New York's on
of John Carpenter stuff. Like, they added Escape from New York, The Fog, Prince of Darkness. What the fuck else did they put on
Shudder's
there?
got that? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they just, like, the other day, they added... Well, they tend to... Shudder, like, they have, like, people that, like, curate, you know, their thing. So they'll tend to, like, add, like, a shit ton of one type of, like... I think the other day, like, they added a whole bunch of Stephen King adaptations, you know, like Misery and Cat's Eye and stuff like that. And then they added a bunch of Giallo movies. And then one time, like, a couple months ago, they added a bunch of folk horror. You know what I mean? So they'll add, like, a bunch of stuff like that, like, at one time. And I think they just added, like, a whole shit ton of John Carpenter stuff. Let's see. One of the funniest I've seen is Be Kind, Rewind with Jack Black, where these guys work at the VHS rental store. I don't think I ever saw that, actually. I quite like Jack Black. He's quite charming. So that sounds like something that I would
got some movies I like to really
enjoy.
I really liked Nacho Libre. That was a good one.
That is very funny.
Yeah.
Well, and he was in that one.
Tenacious D.
He was in that one, too. Yeah, School of Rock was actually pretty funny,
Yeah,
too.
it's pretty good, yeah.
What was the one that he was in where he was, like, the funeral director? Was it called Bernie?
I don't know.
Was it called Bernie?
Didn't see it.
Yeah, you did. You saw it twice. Matter of fact, I think it was called Bernie. It was
where he played the guy who went to prison, killed the woman.
What?
Didn't he kill a woman?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was something to do with like funeral, like a funeral home or something like that. Right? And it was kind of a comedy, but it was like kind of a drama too.
It was based on a real true crime.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right.
He killed the woman that he was living with.
Yeah.
Remember that to live in her house or something?
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while.
Got life in prison for it. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Hugo says Carpenter's Body Bags is good. I tell everybody to see Body Bags because I kind of feel like it's one that we reviewed it like a long, long time ago. And it's kind of like a horror anthology that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's really, really good, actually. Gramther says, Gramther's list of weird movies from his teenage years. 1984 with John Hurt. Yep, remember that one. Elephant Man with John Hurt. I see a theme. Koyaanisqatsi. Yeah, I really liked Koyaanisqatsi. I've seen it a couple times. And Faces of Death. Ours were, like I said, I think like Santa Sangre. There was Bartleby. That was one that we watched a bunch. I kind of want to watch that again with Crispin Glover. Various John Waters movies, various David Lynch movies. Particularly Wild at Heart. I think that was one that we used to watch a lot, like in high school.
I can't believe the camp guy had never seen Escape from New York. He just shrugged that off. I asked him if he'd never seen that, and he's talking to other people now. But no. If you haven't seen that, you got to rent that one on Amazon. Amazon has it. I think it's $3.
Yeah, I mean, most of the movies on there are just like $2.99 or $3.99. But like I said, if you had Shudder, like I'm pretty sure it's on Shudder because I think they just added a bunch of those. I don't think they added Body Bags, but I think Body Bags is free on Tubi, or it was last time I looked. But yeah, that's a really, really underrated horror anthology. And you know how much I love my anthologies. I'm actually putting up a review of an old anthology from the 1960s. Tomorrow, a Vincent Price one called Twice Told Tales, based on the stories of Nathaniel Hawthorne. So you know. Camp Guy said, we never had HBO when I was a kid. Yeah, well, the only reason that I had it as a kid, and I probably brought this up before, was my dad worked for Cablevision, so we got free cable. So, like I said, as soon as MTV started, as soon as like all the pay channels, like he got all that shit for free. If we'd had to pay for it, we wouldn't.
So that's why he didn't. That's why he didn't see Escape from New York.
Yeah, I guess because he didn't have HBO.
Yeah. No,
I don't think I saw. Well, I don't think I saw it on cable. I think I rented it.
I think I saw it in the theater.
I was well. What was it? It came out in '81, right?
Yeah, it was R, but I think my dad took me to see it.
Now, see, I would have been 9, and that probably was not something that my parents would have taken me to see when I was 9. You know what I mean?
I was 11.
So I probably saw it later.
You can get the deleted scenes. They come on the Blu-ray, and they probably uploaded them to YouTube, but it shows Snake's bank robbery, what sent him to prison. And I think there might have been some other stuff that was in there that they cut out. It's pretty good. But the best part, the bank robbery shows him and his partner's escape when they were going down the Trans-American Railroad. There's like a subway that went underneath the United States, and they were trying to divvy up the little credit cards that they stole. They stole a big old thing. They were basically prepaid ATM cards. That's what they stole. A whole bunch of them.
As you do.
Yeah. And when they got to their location, they came out and a bunch of cops fucking mowed down his buddy, and his army buddy was with him from the Siberian War.
I kind of wish they had left that in. I mean, I can see why they didn't, but because maybe they thought, well, if we put that like right at the beginning of the movie, then Snake Plissken would be less sympathetic to the audience, maybe.
No, he'd be more sympathetic.
Yeah, to be honest, like, no, I'm saying that maybe that's what they were thinking, but I was like seeing it. Yeah. I was just kind of like, maybe.
They said why. But they eliminated a whole character out of there. That was Snake's army buddy. And
that poor actor. I always think about that every time they cut out a whole.
Yeah, there was some
like scenes of like all the actor. I'm like, man, that poor actor was probably like, Mom, I got a movie role, and she's like, you're not in this, bitch. What are you talking about?
He had an action scene and everything. And then they wanted you not to know how the robbery went down, so you could use your imagination how bad he was, about how bad Snake was. But really, it wasn't an armed robbery. They used a bunch of technology to do it, and they showed a damn robot, like a fucking evil R2-D2 looking thing in the bank. It was just like a bank that was filled with ATMs. That's what it was like. It was like an electronic bank, and they ended up stealing a whole duffel bag full of prepaid ATM cards. And he was dressed as a bank employee, Snake was. So it was in some way an inside job.
Crybaby's quoting from Wild at Heart. Yeah, I was just thinking about, but I really want to see Wild at Heart again because I haven't seen it in such a long time. I was just thinking about Crispin Glover was also in that playing Jingle Dell. I'm making my lunch. But yeah, so they're talking about Blue Velvet, River's Edge, Excalibur. Yeah, those were also good ones. What was that one? I remember watching this at my friend's house. We wanted to see it because the soundtrack was cool. I was particularly excited because it was a Nick Cave song on the soundtrack. What was it called? Until the End of the World. And I remember like watching that movie going, what the fuck is like, I was like, I don't know if this is the most awesome movie ever, the most boring movie ever. And I still don't know. I'd probably have to like watch it again. John Smith said, Trick or Treat is my favorite horror anthology so far. Trick or Treat is great. I mean, my favorite horror anthology is still Creepshow. But, I mean, there's lots of good ones. I love anthologies. Trick or Treat is great. If you haven't seen the Mortuary Collection, that is also great. That's on Shudder, I think. And that's kind of new. I think it's 2020 or 2021. That one was really fantastic. I liked that one a lot, too.
Yeah, read Slasher Fred's comment.
Okay, hold on. I read that, in Escape from New York, that there was going to be a plot twist that was going to reveal that the virus injected into Snake was a hoax. I kind of thought
it wasn't anyway.
I mean, yeah, in a way, I'm kind of glad they just left it, they didn't explain it either way, like, because it didn't really matter in the end, but...
I didn't, because look at it this way. How long would it have taken for them to get something like that ready? You know what I mean?
Much easier to just be like, hey, it's saline solution, and be like, yeah, this is going to make your head blow up if we, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
It makes more sense that they just would have tricked him.
Yeah, like I said, much cheaper.
Yeah. But even when I first saw the movie, after several times of watching it, I was like, I bet you there's no capsules in there.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of thought that was probably the case. I mean, they just wanted him to do what...
They wanted him to do it and come back.
And just come back, you know what I mean? Danny Rowling, has anyone seen the horror film The Boy 2? And if so, is it worth watching? Did we see that in the theater? I kind of feel like maybe we did. And you know what? I didn't actually even mind the first The Boy, but I saw The Boy 2, and then I was just like, so we're just shitting on everything that happened in the first one now? Is that what's going on? Like, not that I was super invested in it or anything.
Come to think of it, there was no virus in Escape from New York. It was explosive capsules.
I think that's what
they neutralized. The virus was in Escape from L.A., and I think they injected him with the virus, and that he got hot. He was getting hot, and I think it was a hoax.
Oh, he's getting hot already.
Remember that? He was having a running fever.
I haven't seen Escape from LA in a long time.
I got to see that one again. I have it, but I rarely watch it. I don't like it that much. I think in Escape from LA, they told him that they injected him with a virus that would kill him in a certain amount of time if he wasn't back. And he was starting to run a fever towards the end, but then once he got it over with, there's not to worry about it. It was harmless. It's just a harmless flu we gave you. It was just to give you motivation, something, if I remember correctly.
John Smith said, speaking of an actor cut out of a film, Rick Mayall was cut out of the first Harry Potter movie in which he played a ghost. I remember hearing about that. Poor Rick Mayall. He's R.I.P. He passed away like several years ago, but man, I love Rick Mayall. He was on the Young Ones, and I remember hearing that he was in the first Harry Potter movie, but... weird movies from Granther's adulthood. Spring Breakers, that's the Harmony Korine one, right? Lola, American Honey, and The Witch. Man, I loved The Witch. That was so fucking good. You know what? I just put up. This is what I meant to say like a long time ago, and then we got like distracted when we were talking about movies. And I just put up a review yesterday of the Darren Aronofsky movie Mother, and one of y'all commented. You were talking because I thought it was like brilliant. I thought it was like a masterpiece. But I said, well, I could see like this one got a lot of hate, which I can see that, but I loved it. I thought it was great. And one of y'all commented that it's like, yeah, I thought this was a masterpiece too, or whatever. It's like, I bet Tom would hate this movie. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know if you would, though. You might have really dug it.
What's it?
Because you really liked Noah.
Yeah.
And this one, it's not the same as Noah, but it's along the same lines in the sense that it's like a biblical allegory, even though it's like set in the modern day, kind of. So I don't know. You might really... It's one of those ones that I can't really tell. Like either you would think it was amazing, or you would think it was the stupidest thing ever.
Hugo asked me if I liked Escape from L.A. Yes and no. There's a lot of stuff about Escape from L.A. I liked, but the tone was wrong. It was almost like a parody movie, and fucking Krusell had a lot to do with that movie. I think he might have produced it, but he wanted to bring it back. But I thought it was a little campy, and they had more of a budget, so they thought that more was better.
Not always.
No, less is more. It'd have been better if they did it old school style, where you just have to find some destroyed real location to film this thing. And just make it real low down and dirty, kind of like the first one. That's why it was so convincing, because they were real locations, and they had real good miniatures, with the World Trade Center and the glider, and man, all that shit was good. In Escape from L.A., man, I liked the submarine. I thought that was great. The CG wasn't great. I think I would have just used practical effects.
That's kind of the first thing I always think of when I think of that, is like the surfing and how fake it looked, like the green screen and everything.
Yeah, and then they try to, they made L.A. look way too populated, and it looks too advanced. There was just problems with it, Another thing that I didn't like is that they gave Snake in the second one another cool weapon. They gave him the core burner, which was like a XM177 or an M4 carbine, but it was just like tricked up to look cool. And he had it for about 5 minutes and lost it. So he's supposed to be this badass special forces soldier. He loses his weapon that quickly. It's just, and then he's reliant on revolvers. There were just certain things that I think in the script. The script kind of, it wasn't that good, It wasn't as good as the first one. But man, there was a lot of potential there.
The thing about Escape from New York is that the reason it worked was because, one, it was a great premise, but that is inherently really a premise that's only going to work well one time.
Yeah,
if you try to like do a sequel and it's like, oh, this improbable shit like happened again, no one's gonna buy that, like in a completely different part of the country.
I wouldn't. Now there's another movie that was kind of supposed to be a Snake Plissken movie, like a part 3. It's called Lockout, and it was like Escape from Space, and it had the guy who was in Prometheus, the guy who played Wayland. What was that guy's name? What's that actor's name that played Wayland from?
Well, I'm trying to think of it. Just
he's kind of a skinny guy.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he basically plays like a different version of Snake Plissken. He goes up into orbit and rescues some hostage and brings her down. It was an orbital prison. I have it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we watched that.
Yeah, Lockout is what it's called. And Guy Pearce, I think is what the guy's name is.
That's right.
Guy Pearce.
Well, I knew. I was trying to think of it, but
yeah, I think it's what his name is.
Sometimes if it's quiet for a few minutes, I'll think of it.
Now, the thing is, though, is that that's 3 times in a row that Snake would have to have done that if they were all Snake Plissken.
That's what I'm saying.
So it starts to become fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, you're like, this shit is happening again.
Right.
It's just kind of, well, it gets to a thing where I don't know why I just made this association, but you know the Scooby-Doo cartoon?
Yeah.
And it's like every time, like, the Scooby Gang, like, go on vacation somewhere, it's like, oh, there's somebody pretending to be a ghost to scare away
really
people so they can find a treasure. It's like, how many times is this going to happen to you motherfuckers?
Right.
It's like, you don't even, it's not even like they get called up. That would be more likely. If they got called up like the Ghostbusters, hey, come investigate this ghostly shit. No, it's just wherever they go, there happens to be, like, some shit like that going on, and I'm just like, that's just not how shit works in real life.
What I would have done if I was with John Carpenter, first of all, I'd have gotten him drunk, and then get him high, and then tell him how great fucking Escape from New York was.
First get drunk, two get high.
Yeah. And I tell him how
profit.
tell him how great The Thing was, because The Thing and Escape from New York, to me, tonally, they're very similar. I like those two movies. I can watch those two movies back to back, and I'm happy. It's like another world, you know. That's the Carpenter verse, okay? And I'd say don't do Escape from New York again. You got to put Snake on a different kind of mission, totally different, out in the wilderness or something somewhere. So what I'm actually talking about is like you know the video games fucking Metal Gear, like something Snake from Metal Gear would do, where he has to do something kind of impossible, but it's not in a prison. It's some military facility or some almost like a James Bond mission. I'd have him do something like that.
Yeah, because you can have the same character, but just don't have him be like, oh, you have to go into this prison area and bring somebody back. It's like, yeah, because that seems to be
too unlikely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's more likely that on the back of that they might contact him again and offer him a bunch of money to do something that they can't do
else, right?
Because they get in trouble if they got caught doing it. And it's a do or die, one of a kind mission, and you got to do this, and nobody's got to know that it was us that hired you. You know, you get caught, you're on your own. That kind of shit. And then they fucking put some poison capsules in him or something to up the stakes. He's like, I didn't agree to this. Well, we're gonna give you $1 million bonus. You know, that kind of shit.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
I'd have done something like that, which would have been like something out of like one of the Metal Gear video games, which I played. I have one of those, two of them, Metal Gear, one of the newer ones. I don't remember which one. There were two of them. They're pretty good. They're all right.
Dave Kennington says, Clue was one of my favorite films growing up. Me too. And actually, I've been wanting to rewatch that one. I love that fucking movie. Great cast. Produced by Deborah Hill. Yeah, that's right. John Carpenter's missus for a while. And written and directed by the guy who wrote Yes, Minister. It is a classic, yeah. And fucking Tim Curry. We always like to see Tim Curry. Flames on the side of my face. But yeah, Gramther says The Wrestler was a modern classic. I agree. I think I saw that in the theater, actually. That was also Darren Aronofsky. You would probably really like The Wrestler. I'm on the fence over whether you'd like Mother or not, because I watched it and I thought it was brilliant, and then I was kind of like, I wonder if Tom would like this. I said, but he liked Noah.
Yeah.
And this is, even though it's not like Noah, it's kind of like Noah. Does that make any sense? Like, it's like I said, it's a biblical allegory, and you know, so maybe you'd like it. I don't know. I want to watch it again one day. John Smith said Noah was the most terrifying movie I've ever seen, but I was coming down from an LSD trip at the time. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah, you should probably see the Wrestler though. That was also Darren Aronofsky, and that had Mickey Rourke in it, and it was great. And you've still never seen Requiem for a Dream, have you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you should probably see that one too. Jennifer Connelly's in that.
John Smith's asking,
it's super fucked up, and Ellen Burstyn from The Exorcist.
How did a British guy become the fucking American president in Escape from New York? They just grabbed Donald Pleasant and made him the president.
And I'll allow it.
He loved that role.
It's Donald Pleasant. I'll allow it.
Yeah. And he said he loved that role.
If he wants to.
He says they're not humiliating me enough, so they put the fucking wig on him and shit. He said he was hamming it up.
Donald Pleasant always seemed like a fun dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He didn't have to do that much. He just sat around and make money.
I mean, pretty much.
That was not a demanding role for him.
Nah. Hugo said
he could act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny, did you like Hagazusa? I did. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Yeah. I saw it a while back. I think we talked about it, or maybe I talked about it. I can't remember. They're talking about their favorite comedies. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's a good one. Biloxi Blues. Yeah, that's pretty good too.
I remember.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. Let's see. Guamakun says, I was watching a real early, like before episode 50 episode of our show, and I found myself missing the phrase the Crustle Sphere.
Yeah.
We haven't seen much of anything from the Crustle Sphere. Like, the last Crustle Sphere movies we've seen were the Christmas Chronicles movies. You know?
Yeah.
Was that the last new things that we've seen him in?
Christmas movies, yeah.
Yeah, the Christmas ones. Like Christmas Chronicles, which we still watch every year at Christmas.
Yeah.
The second one
wasn't quite as good.
It wasn't quite as good. It was still worth watching.
They're due for a third one. I wonder if they, it wouldn't surprise me if they made a third one.
I mean, the two of them
They're
were
worth watching. The second one's worth watching.
The first one's like super fun. I really liked it, and like I said, we watched that one like every Christmas.
Yeah.
I think we were meaning to watch both of them last Christmas, but I don't think we did. We rewatch the second one. I don't think we did.
You watched the two Christmas Chronicles movies with Crustle, and then you listened to fucking Billy Idol's fucking Happy Holidays album.
And then I watched the Christmas Mystery Science Theater episodes, which are Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, and The Christmas That Almost Wasn't.
Yeah.
Those are and there's also they do like Riff Tracks does like a bunch of Christmas shorts and stuff too, so I usually watch those as well to put myself in the mood. The one I saw, Riff Tracks, if any of you guys are like Mystery Science Theater fans, like or dorks about it like I am. Riff Tracks has a channel, and they'll put up free shit like sometimes. The weird ass the shorts are my favorite, to be honest, because I don't know where the fuck they come up with some of these weird shorts that they find. The short that they put up yesterday, it was like half an hour long, and it was about, I guess it was meant for, I don't know if it was meant for the public or if it was meant for law enforcement. And they were talking about, I guess it was made in the 50s, and they're talking about bunko, which is a very, very archaic term by today's standards.
I never heard of it.
Which I guess that's like people that like rip off other people like financially. It's like when they go to some old lady and is like, hey, look, I found this big bag of money, and I'll split it with you, but you have to go to the bank with me and like give me however much money like as a good faith gesture, so I know that we're getting, it's like these really convoluted kind of scams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, or salesmen that come to your house and like try to like get you to like part with your money and stuff. So they used to call that, I don't know where the term originally came from, but they used to call it bunko. Okay. And so this short was called, what was it called? Bunko Busters, or no, that wasn't it. It was something like, it was bunko something, and it was just kind of telling you like how to avoid these various scams, and it was just kind of like super funny because they were always kind of like showing these clueless old ladies. Oh, of course, young man, I'll go to the bank with you and take $10,000 out, and like fucking Jesus Christ. I'm like, I don't mean to blame the victim, but come on. Anytime somebody's telling you, hey, let's go to the bank and take $10,000 out of your account, the answer to that question is always no. No, we're not doing that. Just, that's a pro tip. Let's see. John Smith said Escape from New York did lead to the myth that Air Force One has an escape pod. It seems it doesn't. Yeah. Let's see. Where I got behind of all the stuff. I liked Lockout. Yeah, I remember it being pretty good.
Yeah, Lockout was fun.
Yeah. Big Trouble in Little China, somebody brings up. That is also super fun.
I got a huge deluxe version of that.
Yeah, I think I bought you that, didn't I?
Gigantic deluxe version.
Like the big... Yeah, it came in like with the big case, like the big book and stuff like that.
Big truck on it.
Yeah. Danny Rowling said, speaking of Scooby-Doo, I could totally see Rob Zombie doing an adult live-action horror version of Scooby-Doo. Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. He probably will. Didn't they make a live-action Scooby-Doo? Didn't they make several live-action Scooby-Doos?
Yeah, some of them were porn.
No, I'm not talking about the porn versions.
Okay,
well, I mean... Yeah, but the thing about it is that anytime you say, "Hey, didn't they make a movie about blah?" Wasn't that a porn movie? Yes, it was always. There's always a porn version of everything.
Porn version,
But I'm just saying, not a porn version. It was just like a regular. I kind of feel like wasn't Matthew Lillard from Scream in that shit? Wasn't he Shaggy? Mm-hmm. Am I crazy?
I don't know.
I'm sure there was like
I didn't
a whole.
Keep up with that.
Well, I didn't either, clearly, because I don't remember. But I just kind of vaguely remember like seeing a trailer at some point.
I think, and.
Now, I didn't see it, but I remember seeing trailers for it. I think John Goodman was in it, like he was Fred.
My understanding,
Rick Moranis was in it. He was Barney.
90s,
that was 90s.
And my understanding is that all that shit sucked. That it was all terrible. So it was.
Well, I mean, it sounded terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the second that somebody, like, think of all the worthwhile movies that, because sometimes I think this too, because, you know, I read a lot of horror books and stuff like that, and I always think to myself, man, this would make a great movie. And then I see, like, sometimes, like, movies that are like, let's make a movie that's like a live action. There's, you know, not now, but back in the 90s. Let's make a live action Flintstones movie. I mean, the second somebody came in your office and said that, get out.
Yeah.
Just get out.
Yeah,
I mean, what a stupid idea. I think Rosie O'Donnell was in that too.
Shit bombed.
I don't know if it did or not,
No,
which is alarming.
I remember it bombing.
I mean, I just remember seeing the trailer and then I just forgot about it. Like I said,
that's because fucking they made that live action Popeye movie, and I think it did pretty good. Shelley Duvall and fucking
Robin Williams was in that.
I think that did pretty well, but.
And I don't really
That's about
remember
it,
a lot. I think I saw that movie like on cable.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on cable.
But I don't remember liking it or disliking it.
It's like an acid trip.
I don't really have like thoughts about it one way or the other because I don't really remember. Camp Guy said A Fish Called Wanda was a great comedy movie. I agree. Yeah, I really like that one. I've seen that one like a bunch of times. Escape from Nebraska, The Search for Something to Do. Not gonna lie, I'd probably watch that. Let's see. Yeah, Kaylon Higgins said it's like the Jurassic Park series. There wouldn't be a franchise if the park was safe and successful, or if the characters didn't keep making the same mistakes. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. But that said, Escape from New York, if you must make a sequel, keep the character, but don't make the next mission exactly like the first mission. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You just got to change it up enough to make it, like, believable. Because no one's...
What are you talking about?
Escape from New York.
Oh, yeah.
And Escape from L.A.
There should have never been an Escape from L.A.
Not really.
No, that was a bad idea. I don't know what they were thinking. The tone was totally wrong. The tone had to be like the first one, and the tone on the first one was similar to The Thing. You know, it was kind of a serious.
Yeah, I mean, it had humor, but it wasn't like funny.
Yeah, no, it wasn't funny, and it kind of had a great. What was weird about Escape from New York is that when you analyze it. It wasn't an action movie.
No.
It wasn't an action movie. It fooled you into thinking that it was an action movie, but there's very little action in it. There's a car chase, a car crash, and some guns shooting, some shootouts, and that's about it. It's more like an adventure.
Yeah, I think that's the category I play. I think
more like action adventure.
I think it usually gets classed in with action or action horror or action thriller or something like that. But
sci-fi, dystopian action thriller kind of action something or other. I mean, it had problems, the first one, but it was still overall good. You know, Russell said he was working out hard to try to fucking gain some mass. He was skinny. He was too skinny. But you know, it still came across. I mean, he's just doing Clint Eastwood. And Clint Eastwood was a skinny motherfucker. People don't realize it. That dude didn't weigh anything. You know?
Well, and he probably weighs even less nowadays because he looks like a mummy.
He looks like a mummy, yeah.
Because he's like 150 years old.
He was just a tall, skinny dude, probably weighed 150 pounds.
Speaking of Clint Eastwood, we really still should Play Misty for me, because I think you'd probably like that movie. Crybaby said Black Swan was good. Yeah, I actually really like Black Swan. I've liked all of Darren Aronofsky's movies that I've seen. I know that he's kind of one of those filmmakers that people are just kind of like, you know, but I don't know. I liked everything. And I don't think I've seen all his movies, but I've seen most of them. I saw Pi. I saw Requiem for a Dream. I saw Black Swan. I saw The Wrestler. And then Gramthers points out The Wrestler was also a biblical allegory about Job from the Old Testament. Oh, yeah. I guess so. That's kind of Darren Aronofsky's thing, I guess. Although I don't really see Requiem for a Dream being a biblical allegory. Although I guess it could be. Where does
stuff, man?
Where does the double-headed dildo come into the Bible?
I don't know what you're.
The infamous scene in Requiem for a Dream.
I didn't see it, so I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Where Jennifer Connelly and the other prostitute are like having like the double-headed dildo in their butts and stuff. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see it.
And the whole thing with like I said, Ellen Burstyn is in it.
How do you know that this happened? They showed it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically like an anti-drug movie is what it is. And it's just kind of like, because Ellen Burstyn is in it, like from The Exorcist, you know? And she's on some kind of prescription pills or something like that, and she starts fucking losing her marbles. Like, so she thinks her like refrigerator is coming to get her and shit like that. It's crazy. It's a crazy movie.
Yeah, not for me, probably.
No, you would probably like it. I know what it sounds like when I say that, but I mean, it's depressing as fuck. I will tell you that right now. But actually, I really liked it. Even though it is depressing as fuck. Speaking of the Crustle, has Tom seen Dark Blue?
Yeah, I own it.
Yeah, excellent cop thriller written by James Ellroy. Yeah, did we watched it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did.
He plays a bad cop.
Yeah.
You don't realize he's a bad cop towards the end until the end, but he's a bad cop.
Oh, well, there was a spoiler alert.
It was a pretty good one. Wasn't my favorite from him, but, you know, it was pretty good. I liked it.
Let's see. Donald Pleasance and Christopher Lee in 1972's Deathline, a.k.a. Raw Meat. We actually did a review of that a long time ago. I think it was like a double feature. It was Deathline and something else, but I can't remember what the other movie was that we talked about. But I know we talked about that one. Favorite archaic short movie. I started watching one last night. I didn't finish watching it, but it was another Riff Tracks one, and it actually wasn't a short, but it was like a full-length movie. I don't know when the fuck this movie was from. It was like, I'm thinking it was like early 50s, like judging by the way everyone was dressed and stuff. But I guess there was a series of movies starring these characters. I guess it was 3 of them. I didn't see the first one, so I don't really know. But it was like, they were called The Teenagers. You know, that's real specific. And I guess all the different movies, they would get in like different adventures. And these bitches were like fucking insufferable, man. And like the one that I was watching last night, they were going to like this ranch with one of their teachers, and like it was like cowboy days, but it was still supposed to be modern day, so I didn't really get that. But it's just kind of like, then one of them gets mistaken for some cowboy, like some guy that had killed some sheriff or something like that. It was like the most ridiculous thing ever. I gotta like finish watching.
Dermot is laying down some facts for us. I was wrong about the Flintstones. Said the Flintstones made a shit ton of money.
See, that's what I thought. That's what I suspected.
But he said
that's why they kept
horrible reviews.
That's why they kept fucking making them.
Yeah, it got horrible reviews, though. He said.
Well, yeah,
I remember everybody just saying it sucked.
But see, maybe you just remember movie critics saying this sucked, which I'm sure it probabably did suck. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but just I can just tell.
I just thought it bombed in terms of. I figured that it sucked, and it didn't make.
See, I thought that I had a suspicion. I was like, I know it probably got shitty reviews, but I was like, I bet it probably made a bunch of money because they kept doing it. They kept making them.
I just saw the trailer. I remember seeing the trailer on TV, going, "Oh no."
Because didn't they do some? Hey, wait! Did they ever do a live action Jetsons?
No.
That seemed like the natural next thing to do.
If they did, I don't remember it. There was a lot of stupid shit that they did.
How about a live action Grape Ape? Let's see that.
Yeah.
Or what was the one with the big huge shark and the kids that drove around solving crimes? What the fuck was the name of that?
Machine?
No, that was that Burt Reynolds movie.
That was Burt Reynolds, yeah.
What was that cartoon? Was it Hanna-Barbera?
Probably.
Am I high?
Yeah, you're high.
I mean, I'm not right now, but I'm just saying there was a cartoon.
Yeah, there was a cartoon, but I don't remember the name of it.
And it was like a giant shark, and he walked around on land. He didn't swim.
Yeah, he was a land shark.
The fuck was that? He was a land shark.
It's like Sharky something or other.
No, he wasn't Sharky.
I thought his name was Sharky.
No, what the fuck was it? I'll probably think of it like.
They had all kinds. Hanna-Barbera was a cheap company. They made a shit ton of stuff, and they made lots of it. They made ones about fucking World War I looking airplanes that were racing planes, I think.
Yeah, I remember that.
They made one.
Was that Wacky Races?
I don't know. Then they made another one that was about cars versus motorcycles racing, and the cars talked instead of the motorcycle.
Yeah, I remember that one.
They had just stupid
drugs are a hell of a drug.
Yeah,
like
drugs are a hell of a drug.
That's what all those people that did all those drugs in the 60s and 70s, they started like writing cartoons right around that time.
The only Hanna-Barbera cartoon that I remembered liking as a kid was the Herculoids. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Wait, was that the one with the dinosaur thing and the shmoo?
Was that the one with the shmoo? They had 2 shmoos.
And 2 shmoos.
Then they had a triceratops.
That's what I was thinking
It's
of.
a triceratops.
And he could like shoot shit out of his like horn.
Yeah, out of its horn. It had like 8 legs. That. And then they had a big old gorilla that was like a rock, made out of rock. And he could smash his fists together.
I didn't remember that.
And then
they
had a damn dragon that shot lightning out of its tail and laser beams out of its eyes. And it was about a scientist from Earth, his wife and his 2 kids get stranded on this fucking ancient planet, barbaric planet, and then they kind of, I think they adopted it as their home. Weren't they from Earth?
You're asking the wrong person. All I remember, I don't remember the human characters. I don't give a shit about them. Yeah. I just remembered like all the monsters because
I thought they might have been from Earth and that they kind of got marooned there. But maybe I might be wrong. It was a long time ago. I think Johnny Quest might have been Hanna-Barbera though too.
I don't think it was. I don't think Johnny Quest was a lot better. I don't think that was Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
I mean, I could totally be wrong.
Johnny Quest was. I remember Johnny Quest being like when I was a little kid. That was like watching an adult movie.
It was, yeah.
It was like wow. I was getting that Bandit and Haji, and fucking Race Bannon. Yeah, and then they had Race Bannon's fucking scientist buddy with the red hair and the beard, and I go, man, this G.I. Joe, because I had a G.I. Joe that looked just like that.
Every time I see Jeremy Wade's fishing show, I'm like, look, it's Race Bannon.
Race Bannon.
He looks just like Race Bannon from the cartoon. So that's why I started calling him. Yeah. Okay, so on the Herculoids, what were the Shmoo's powers? What could the Shmoo's do?
They could turn into any object you might need.
Okay.
Like if you were falling.
Well, that's handy.
If you were falling, they could run underneath you and turn into a big trampoline and catch you. They could stretch out and grab things. And I forgot what they were called. It was Gleep and Gloop, or I think it was called Gleep and Gloop.
I think
the monkeys.
I think you might be right.
I think there might have been monkeys named Gleep and Gloop.
Wait, where did the Wonder Twin powers come into this?
That was fucking
Wonder Twin powers activate.
Yeah.
That was a different cartoon, I think. They all mixed together, like back
Catch
from those
the
old
Pigeon.
days.
That's what the name. That was.
Oh, I remember that song.
Pigeon.
Well, actually, do you guys remember like back in the '90s, there was an alternative rock, like album that came out, and it was all like alt rock bands like covering cartoon themes, and I think the Reverend Horton Heat did a version of "Stop That Pigeon," which was actually quite rad. I just remember doing, I think, was it Helmet or Pavement or somebody like that did Gigantor. Shit, what else? I used to have it. Violent Femmes was on there. They were doing that song from, I guess it was like the Flintstones, Eep Eep Ork. They did that one. And it was a good album, actually.
Rebecca's talking about G-Force. Yeah. G-Force had a fucking, the bad guy was a ripoff of fucking Batman. I think it was just, had Batman's outfit and everything, if I remember correctly. What was funny is that there were several cartoons that were shown here in the United States that were actually just cut up Japanese series, re-engineered for an American audience, and the stories had no resemblance to the originals, and G-Force was one of them. The Japanese version was a lot better, and we never got it. This was just like Star Blazers, I think was the name of one of the other ones. I think it was Star Blazers. No, there was a Star Blazers, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. They took a Japanese, they took Grendizer UFO, and fucking re-engineered that into some piece of shit. And then they did the same thing, I think, with Getter Robo G. And those were real good. Go Nagai. That was the name of the Japanese guy that made him. It was like their version of Stan Lee. Those were Go Nagai animes turned in, or anime comics that were turned into. Excuse me. No, they don't call that anime. What do they call it? Mangas. Yeah, they were mangas that were turned into anime for Japan. I have them. I have the originals, but they're copies because it's not licensed for the United States. But I was watching them as a little kid on UHF 22, or was that VHF 22? It was VHF 22 in California on the Japanese channel, because we had Japanese people living in California at that time. back in the 70s. So I saw them, but I couldn't understand them. But I loved them as kids. I started fucking collecting the toys, and they got here as the Shogun Warriors, which were knockoffs, really, of the originals. The original toys were even better back in Japan. But the reason why they changed them up for the United States is that the originals had themes that would never be accepted in the United States. The women had nipples on their uniforms. That's one thing that they didn't like. People got killed in the comics, in the mangas. They weren't for kids. They were more for teenagers in Japan. The bad guys were demons from the center of the earth in one series, and they would fucking demonically possess people and animals, and they would die and blow up and shit. And they're like, oh, we can't show this to kids, and we can't have any references to the fucking pandemonium army with fucking evil demons in the center of the earth. And one of the demons was named General Hister, and it's definitely Adolf Hitler with horns. So they had to kind of edit him out. And General Bry was this, but the originals were so much better than the bullshit we got. It was the same with Grendizer. Well, G-Force was one like that. I don't remember the original name of G-Force, but I do remember that one. And it was pretty good. Even the American version, it was pretty good. But they say the original Japanese version was about 1,000 times better. Because they were more for adults, or not really adults, but more for teenagers. And they were long. They ran for a long time. They were like miniseries. Like the Japanese were doing on television what we only started doing in Netflix with like fucking The Walking Dead and shit. Really good series. The Japanese did that shit forever.
Well, the thing about it, they did that not just with cartoons, but they did that with live action too. Because some of the stuff that they did on Mystery Science Theater. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, some of the ones that they did. But some of the movies that they did on there, there was this production company owned by this person named Sandy Frank. And he would buy series from Japan and then recut them to, like, movie length. And they were completely incomprehensible. Because he was cutting down, like, 8, 10, 12 hours of a show. Yeah. And stuffing it into like an hour and a half, and it made absolutely no sense. Yeah, well,
that's what G-Force was and stuff like that, and Star Blazers and shit like that. They cut it all down, fucked it up. And they were also doing a live action stuff. Saban bought basically Go Ranger and fucking tricked that up and released it as Power Rangers, and the model was so successful that the Japanese had like exclusive agreements with fucking Saban, who was just a producer here, you know. For merchandising, and they made in Japan. They actually shot their series so it was easy to cannibalize and turn into an American series, so they can insert American actors in an American story based on their costumes and special effects. Action scenes that were filmed in Japan, but the original Japanese series of all that shit was superior to what we got. It was called Sentai and Super Sentai. When I was a little kid, I was seeing the real thing in California on Channel 22, which is a VHF channel, and the one I saw was Go Ranger was one of them, and that was the original Power Rangers. It was badass. People were getting blown up. Evil women with fucking eyes where the titties would be and fucking tentacles coming out of the top.
That's some Percy Shelley
crazy shit, man. And it was shit they would never show in the United States. And everybody would blow up, and people throwing grenades and bombs at each other, and machine guns, and ramping over each other with machine guns. Yeah, motorcycles and shit. And then they had another one. I didn't know what it was at the time, but then I found out later it was Kamen Rider. You can Google all this shit, what it looked like. Kamen Rider was weird, too. It was kind of like Power Rangers mixed with Batman. And it had a dude look like a damn insect or something. He looked like an insect, like a motorcycle helmet with two big old eyes on it. And green outfit.
Why don't they make more motorcycle helmets that look like big, like, praying mantis heads?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like a praying mantis head.
Does anybody have something like that? That seems like something that should be available.
France is into shit like that, but it looks more like
that's cool. I would have
shit.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Get like a green jacket, looking like a fucking bug.
Kamen Rider. That was a good one.
I'm trying to remember the one series. Well, there was more than one, but there was one series that they did a couple of them on Mystery Science Theater, and the movies, like I said, were just the best one. And like I said, I'll probably remember it like 10 minutes from now. But what the fuck was the name of that thing? I don't remember. But so the guy comes to like this other planet, like for whatever reason, like all the bad guys. And I saw this a lot in Japanese movies. I don't know if this is like a thing for Japanese movies, like from the 50s and 60s and stuff. But it's like the bad guys were wearing makeup and sometimes like blonde wigs.
Yeah.
Like I was
They're
like,
looking
okay. Yeah. I mean, you do you, like whatever. But I'm missing some cultural context there, I think. Rebecca says, in Australia, the cartoons we saw 99% of the time were DC, Hanna-Barbera, Looney Tunes, and the Flintstones. Only Marvel we ever saw was Spider-Man. That's pretty much what we got too. I mean, honestly, most of my childhood was Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera cartoons with some other things. Dermot says Penelope Pit Stop and Hong Kong Phooey
Yeah, I remember
were
that.
big kids TV 1970s.
I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember Penelope Pit Stop, but I do remember Hong Kong Phooey for
Penelope
sure.
Pit Stop was a cute little blonde racer girl who had like a little Carmen Ghia race car. And didn't she have something to do with Tom Slick? Wasn't she part of the Tom Slick series? I don't remember. But it was just kind of like a 60s racing.
I mean, it sounds familiar,
Kinda
but
like
it didn't make much of an impression.
Kind of like a female Speed Racer, but it was a lot funnier. Speed Racer was actually kind of serious for the time. The Speed Racer series was pretty close. That the United States got was close to the original, a lot closer to the original than with some of the other stuff that we got. It was all chopped up. Another one that we got that was close to the original was Tetsujin 28. We knew it as Gigantor, if I remember correctly. It's about a robot, and a dude, he could run it on remote control and get him a Gigantor and fucking. It's a cartoon, yeah, Gigantor. Tetsujin 28 was the original name for it, though. It's kind of like Giant Robot with Johnny Sacco. That was a live action Sentai. It's pretty good.
Dave Kennington said, funniest film ever, Double Down, or any Neil Breen film. Oh my god. I honestly have never sat through an entire Neil Breen film, but I've seen pieces of most of them because our boy over at on the Shitcase Cinema channel reviews a lot of his movies and like shows clips of them, and they look hilarious. But I'd really have to be like in the and like not for the reasons you might think, but yeah. So one of these days I'll probably have to get really drunk and like watch some of the shit because I don't know, man. I don't know. But the guy, okay. So Neil Breen is like one of those guys that he's like, well, you know, I can make movies and I'm going to be in all my movies. And in all of his movies, he's always like, he always casts himself as like the hero, but not just the hero. He's always kind of like, I'm an angel that's come to Earth to like save her. But I mean, you know, it's obviously like a really like ego stroking kind of project, which makes it like even funnier. So it's that. It's not funny for the same kind of reasons as the dude that made like Birdemic and Replicas and like those kind of movies. That guy he seems like a nice man and everything, but that guy, I can't remember what his name is right now, but that guy, it's almost kind of like he's from another planet and doesn't really know like humans work, which is what makes his movies funny, which is kind of the same reason why like The Room is funny. But Neil Breen's movies are funny because the movies they're not competently made or anything like that, but you can tell that like the guy that made them is like a total egomaniac.
Yeah.
And that is like
talk about that dude.
Neil Breen, yeah. And that's just like funny in itself because it's like it's very clear that he's like, I'm gonna cast myself as like the savior of mankind.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna float down to earth and I'm an angel and I'm just like, I'm healing you. I'm just like, oh my god, seriously, dude, get the fuck out of yourself. It's so fucking funny.
Hires these
so
girls young enough to be his daughter who are far outside of his natural abilities, and he's there to impress them through the whole movie.
I mean,
definitely his ego trip fantasy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which, like I said, hey...
He's always a superior alien, an angel, or something kind of in between the two.
Something like that. Has he been a ninja yet? I don't know.
No, he's always some kind of a...
He's always some kind of celestial being, I feel like.
That is totally good and here to save the planet and free energy and how to solve all these problems. He's going to solve all of mankind's problems.
Like I said, look, if you want to make, like, movies...
And get laid.
Well, yeah, that's very important. That's very important.
That's why you're solving mankind's problems, to get laid.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
if he wasn't going to get any trim out of it, he's not going to do it. Fuck it, it's too much work. But if I'm getting some shit on the side, So it just seemed like, okay, if you want to, like, write fanfic or make movies or something like that where you were, like, king of the universe or whatever, fine. But it's like, don't inflict it on other people. Come on, nobody wants to see that. Although, in a way, like, maybe do inflict it on other people because it's, like, super funny. Like, it's fucking hilarious. But yeah, I mean, Shitcase Cinema, he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't post that often anymore. He's a British dude. He's a writer as well. He's a novelist. But every now and then, he does a lot of Steven Seagal movies too. But he does a lot of Neil Breen movies. Yeah. He just like watches like the shittiest of the shitty.
So he mentioned in Battle of the Planets, that was No Shoes. I remember the name Battle of the Planets, but I can't quite place it. It's standing out. I remember liking Battle of the Planets, but I can't quite remember what it was. I liked the one about Battleship Yamato. That was a good one. I think that was also known as Star Blazers in the United, where they rise the Yamato, the sunken Yamato, out of the fucking ground and turn it into a spaceship, and it runs out to get revenge on avenge the planet Earth because it had been fucking destroyed by these damn aliens. You're trying to track them down.
Those damn aliens.
Damn aliens blew the shit up. Yeah.
As they do.
As they do sometimes. It was kind of like Battlestar Galactica in a way, where instead of they're not searching for their home, they're searching for the home planet of the bad guys. In the Battleship Yamato. It's pretty cool. And then but Battle of the Planets. Man, I know that name. I'm trying to remember which one that was. That was all before Robotech came out. That was pre-Robotech. 70s.
Dave Kennington talking about Neil Breen. He was a soldier in one. I've been awarded every medal. Yeah,
every medal. Damn.
Which medal did you get? All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one. They're just like all over his uniform, like all over the back, and like all over,
which would be impossible.
All over his pants and his shoes.
I even got Arctic Surface ribbon. Yeah. 6 months in our Antarctica.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Douche.
I mean, what I can't imagine like what would possess you.
Yeah.
Like I could see like maybe doing that like for your own amusement, like or just to jack off or whatever, but it's just kind of like why release that? It's like, oh, people need to see this. I'm like, no, they really don't. They really don't.
He's releasing it for himself.
And it's like, and I don't know, like I said, like people like that, he seems like to have no self-awareness whatsoever, and he's just like, look, everyone's just gonna like laugh, they're all gonna laugh at you, just like Carrie's mom said. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, and I think he maybe doesn't understand like why people are laughing at him, like, but everybody on Earth like thinks that's fucking hilarious. Come on. Okay, I gotta pee. Like,
okay,
you talk.
Raptor says Steven Seagal is in Russia these days talking shit about Ukraine and the U.S. And he sends the links. Well, I don't know what he's fucking saying, but I told you how that shit was gonna go. I called it. I don't know if they've fucking announced it. I know they haven't announced it to the American public, but fucking Ukraine's fucking trashed. They have no chance. They lost that one. Russia got all the Russian-speaking areas back, and that was just half the damn country, which is what started the war anyway. We overthrew America did what it does, is overthrowing fucking duly elected governments, because we don't make money that way. And the Russian speakers in Ukraine fucking got pissed, and they fucking helped the Russian army, and they're going to go back to Russia. That was always Russia anyway. Russia came from Ukraine. That's like their version of Philadelphia. At least the eastern half of it. It was always just disputed territory. Borders of fucking Ukraine were always up to whatever fucking empire was around it at the time.
We're talking about Seagal again? Or?
Yeah, Seagal talking shit, but I'm just saying, you know, it's easy to talk shit about that. They didn't have a chance.
I think Seagal has kind of the same problem as Neil Breen does.
No.
Well, it's a similar
Neil Breen's
problem.
much worse.
It's a similar problem.
Yeah.
Like people that think entirely too much of themselves and don't like.
Well, we kind of went on. A couple of days we touched on this and where we drew parallels between Glenn Danzig
And Steven
Seagal. But there's a big difference between the two. They're on the spectrum, but there's a big difference. And the difference is that Danzig can fucking deliver. Okay, Danzig can fucking sing.
Yeah, I mean, at least he has talent.
I saw him live in 95, and that motherfucker kicked ass. He was fucking great to see live. He can sing. He can write music and do. Steven Seagal fucking claims to be able to do everything.
He's a bullshit artist.
He's bullshit. Yeah, he is bullshit.
Nobody is good at everything.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Knowing your weaknesses is actually like a really good thing to be in touch with.
Now, Seagal can do Aikido, but Aikido isn't all that impressive. That's the problem. Okay. Aikido's not a real martial art. No, I wouldn't consider that's MMA. You can't take that into an MMA event. You'd get your ass kicked. You know, you have to train for MMA. But Aikido is not a. No.
Well, see, the thing
Aikido is bullshito.
Like I said,
Aikido is bullshit.
If he was just good at that, and if he was like in some movies,
then that'd be fine.
And then he didn't like talk anything else, like how he was awesome at everything, and like then that would be fine. And like didn't take himself all that, if he didn't take himself so seriously, like people wouldn't make jokes about him all the time. I think that was mostly why people like shit on him all the time.
Well,
because he takes himself way too seriously. Michael Schaefer said, who would win in a fight, Seagal or Ashita Kim?
Oh, Seagal.
Well, Seagal would probably just sit on him. Because Ashita Kim was like kind of skinny.
I'm not gonna talk that. I'm not gonna. It depends on at what time you're talking about when it comes to.
Yeah, like nowadays. Well, wait, Ashita Kim's dead, isn't he?
He's probably not around. That dude's probably.
Is he dead?
Probably. He was old then. But he'd be in no shape to fight. But in their primes, fucking Seagal would fucking stop a mud hole in Ashita Kim.
Well, he's much bigger than Ashita Kim.
Yeah.
Even before he got fat.
The reason why Seagal was good at Aikido is because, or good at kicking people's asses with Aikido, is because he was about 6 foot something and weighed a lot. He was pretty big. He had good reach. He was never very muscular. And he knew who he could pick on. He'd pick on a little fucking actor dude.
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
Who's like a foot shorter than him.
Yeah, he's like 5'4". You know what I mean?
He's like my height.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That'd be like Steven Seagal picking on me.
Right. Now,
I'll whip his ass.
Ashita Kim, and man, I'm fucking so pissed at I am so pissed at YouTube when they took the fucking that channel down. Fucking, I should have copied that shit somehow.
Too late now.
But it's gone now.
We'll go over to Daily Motion. Maybe they moved it over to Daily Motion or something.
Maybe somebody copied it and put it on Daily Motion.
I'm sure it's someplace.
And what was his name? I got what the name of it. But that dude would sit there and fucking talk about fucking Ashita Kim, and it was fucking hilarious. Hilarious. What was the name of that channel? Something or other gentleman or something. No, the Pink Man. The Pink Man.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy. I think I watched that when we were like preparing to do the show about.
Yeah,
it was still there then.
It was called The Pink Man in one word on YouTube. But they took the channel down because he was using clips from kung fu movies, and they said it was all copyrighted. And he was smoking them too hard. He was just fucking people up, martial artists, calling them out, bullshito. Seagal was one of the main ones. Then the other one he went off on was fucking Ashita Kim. He went off on, did a whole video.
Well,
on
Ashita Kim is super fun to pick on.
Yeah, and then he went off on.
What was
fucking,
that dude thinking?
Went off on fucking the dude from fucking that was supposedly the guy from fucking that Stevens that from one movie was Death Match. No.
Wait, are you talking about Frank Dux?
Frank Dux. Did one on Frank Dux.
From Bloodsport?
Bloodsport. It was epic fucking rants. And they were poetic. He wrote them down before he it was all, he wrote the shit down like a script and went through. And with his nerdy voice, he sounded like fucking Woody Allen talking about fucking martial arts. But no, he got him and he knew a lot about martial arts. He was a martial artist himself, the Pink Man. But I think it was MMA or a mixture, because he didn't know martial arts, but I think he was mostly into MMA, and would just sit there and just pick those dudes apart, their histories and what they said at certain times, and then what they claimed to have been able to do, and where this comes from. And the Pink Man also did a whole one on ninjas.
Yeah, I watched that one too.
That one was really good.
Yeah, I watched that one too.
He basically goes through the whole thing, so there were no ninjas.
Not really. No, I mean, not in the way it turned out in the movies. No. I think we did a show about ninjas.
Yeah, we did.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I think I watched it like before we did that. Dave Kennington said, "Not sure Seagal could win a fight against Kim Cattrall these days."
He's got mass.
That's pretty funny. Well, like I said, if he sat on you, you'd be in trouble. He could sit on you and fart in your face.
He could just get a hold of you,
really unpleasant,
and pull you towards him and wrap himself around you and just hug you like that and fall, and you'd have a hard time. Mass has a certain powers of all its own. You know what I mean? Like, there are some big fat dudes that are not physically fit that you don't want to fuck with, because if they get a hold of you, you can't get out from underneath them, especially if there's a big size and weight difference between you two.
I mean, it'd be like a semi-truck tire.
Well, it's like a big heavy octopus. You know what I mean? And you just can't get out of it. And you can punch all you want, but it's just padding.
That's what I mean. That's only like one or two fat layers there. They got like all kind of protection.
And people watch too many these fucking crazy ass movies with these 120-pound fucking sexy chicks beating up like 5 badass dudes. She's wearing a fucking miniskirt, and it doesn't work that way. I mean, if somebody can pick you up, you have a very hard time beating that person. All right? And it's just physics. If someone can pretty much easily pick you up, you're fucked.
Probably should just run.
Yeah. And it's because, and that's the reason why children don't beat up adults. Okay? You tell me when's the last time a child has beat up an adult. It doesn't happen. You can just pick a child up, throw that child. You know what I mean? It's just.
I mean, don't do that.
Yeah, but you can. Well, it's the same thing.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. As soon as you're off the ground, you need all of your punches, the fucking power behind them, kind of evaporated, because you're not pushing off from the ground to fucking conduct any fucking power into that person. It'd be like trying to just be floating in the water trying to punch a guy underneath the pool. You can't really hardly do it. You punch him and you move back. You know what I mean? It's like that. You just can't connect, So, no, mass has a lot to do with it. It's not all this.
So maybe that's how Seagal still justifies talking about how awesome he is. He's like, well, if worse comes to worse, like I said, I can just fall on
grab you and fall,
you'll probably
and then we'll grapple and it'll be on the ground and I'll fucking smother you and fucking It's like fighting.
And then he's like, yeah, and I haven't even worn deodorant for 5 days. You'll die from the fucking stink.
But it depends on how much you weigh and who you are. That wouldn't work with everybody. But
we're so mean. We're not mean. We're just mean to particular people. Like I said, if he was cool and had a sense of humor about himself, then like I said, nobody would make fun of him.
There's mental illness there.
You just gotta be real.
I think there's mental illness there. He's a pathological liar.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly got some and he lies about things that are like really, really easy.
Yeah, or he
to
did.
check. Well, the thing about it, maybe he just started back when it was not so easy to check, and then he's like, well, shit, now I'm kind of like locked into this bullshit now, so it's like I can't really go back on the stuff, or it'll be like really shameful.
He was like Frank Dux. Frank Dux was definitely a pathological liar. Just a pathological.
I've never understood that at all. I've never understood. I mean, I know it's a mental illness of some kind. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Because I was watching that show, The Unexplained, like the William Shatner one, and I was watching an episode on Hulu last night about people with double lives. So it was kind of like people that are like imposters and stuff, and they were talking about like a couple. They didn't talk about like some of the better known ones, I guess, like kind of like Frank Abagnale and stuff, but they talked about one guy who was like a French dude, and I guess he like came to the U.S. and like he lived in Hollywood, and he was like kind of ingratiated himself like with all these wealthy people, and it's like he was scammed like money out of them. So he was always kind of like going around like coming up with new names and shit like that. So they were talking about how people like that, it must be some kind of like weird personality type, because it does really seem like some people are just kind of like, from a young age, they're just kind of like, I'm just gonna make all this shit up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm named this and I did this, that, and the other.
Granthers grew up with a dude who was like Granthers. You know who we're talking about? He just, if he was talking, he was lying. If that mouth was moving, he was lying.
I've known a couple of people
just
like
couldn't stop fucking lying. And the older he got,
maybe they can't help themselves.
They just it's no, they can't. They can't help themselves. It's just like a kleptomaniac or a serial killer or anything like that.
Because it's just kind of like, it's just shit that's like that's easy to like check. They just be like, no.
Now somebody mentioned a good example. Who was that said that? Somebody mentioned Butterbean. And that's right. Butterbean, I think that might have been during Ultimate Fighting. I don't remember when that was. Was that Ultimate Fighting? I forgot what kind of fighting that was. That was a long time ago. Butterbean was fucking the dude that appeared in the 90s. I think it was Ultimate Fighting.
That was his name, Butterbean?
Yeah, Butterbean.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Butterbean looked like fucking...
I like that name.
Butterbean...
I'm going to start calling Pookie that.
Yeah, Butterbean was probably like 6'2" or 3" and was just fat and just kind of out of shape. And when you look, he looked like Baby Huey. He did, man. He looked like just funny looking, right?
Was he kind of oily?
No, just this fucking white dude. And he's just this fucking... And Butterbean could fuck you up. He was like a champion because you couldn't hurt him. And he wasn't even really that skilled, you know. It was just mass coming at you. And you couldn't hurt him. And he ended up winning all kinds of shit. People were rooting for him. But if you'd look at him, he just looked like he was just totally out of shape. Totally out of shape. That was Butterbean. He was a legend.
He was the shape. He was round.
No, he wasn't round. He was fucking pear-shaped. He's pear-shaped. Butterbean. And he'd go, "Rah!" and he'd yell and shit. Fucking,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know.
Samantha said, I only knew Butterbean from Jackass. Okay, so he was on Jackass.
I didn't know, yeah.
Camp Guy said, I hate people like that, like people that lie all the time. I avoid them because there's nothing you can do or say to get a word in edgewise. Yeah, it's like people like that, it's like there's really no point like wasting your time talking to them, because it's like obviously they're just gonna like sit there and self-aggrandize and like be like, and I did this and that, and I'm a Navy SEAL and blah blah blah, and I, you know, caused world peace and blah 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 and all this other kind of shit, and just like, who the fuck wants to talk to somebody like that? Nobody.
Yeah, Michael said Butterbean looked like the King Hippo on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I used to have that game.
Yeah.
Me and my brother used to have.
I don't think he was a boxer though. If I remember correctly, I think Butterbean was during the time of Ultimate Fighting. I think you guys might be able to correct me. Maybe it was boxing, but I think it was.
Don't look at me.
I think it was after boxing, like the very very beginnings of UFC. They called it Ultimate Fighting. Oh, they might have had another name for it too.
I mean, I kind of remember that, but I don't like now that you're saying that it was on Jackass. I kind of like vaguely remember that, but because I saw a little bit of Jackass, but not a lot of it. But I do remember King Hippo on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I do remember that game. Like, me and my brother had that. Was he in the Popeye movie? I don't know. Tyson is my favorite boxer of all time. Honestly, I never really watched boxing. I was, I'm not really into sports in general, I don't know. That was an old movie though. Like, how long ago are we talking about? When did the Popeye movie, when did that come out? 87? 87? Something like that. I'm amazed that I don't remember. You'd think that I would remember somebody named Butterbean, for Christ's sake. I mean, that's a pretty awesome name, but I don't remember that at all. Let me see, what else? What time is it? Oh, okay, it's 7:45. We're fine. 1980. Seriously, it was that old? Holy crap. I was thinking it was like mid-80s. I was thinking like 86, 87. I didn't realize it was that. That was like the same fucking year as The Shining came out. Like Shelley Duvall being in that shit. Fuck, man. Was it really that old? Shit. Getting old's a bitch, man. Like, the 80s just are all like a big blur. But usually, like, I'm pretty good at remembering like the years that movies came out. Like, if it was the 1980s or 1990s. But I didn't remember the Popeye movie being that old. I thought it was 86 or 87.
No, it was around the time E.T., I think, came out, wasn't it?
Mr. 88 says 1980.
1980, is that old? Okay.
I was like, fuck, man. That was like Shelley Duvall was in that. That was the same year she was in the fucking Shining.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Shit. 1980. I was only fucking 8 years old. So, it was a long time ago. Yeah, I don't remember Butterbean. Like I said, you'd think I'd remember somebody with a name as rad as that, but I don't. I don't remember. I'm only in my first drink still.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to keep it. Look, I can get
let me have one more.
Yeah.
I mean, we still got a while before we leave. We don't have to leave for a while. It's only 7:45, and we don't actually have to leave till 9:30. So, we'll be all right. And that was mostly watery anyway, because all the ice melted into it. All the ice melted into it. Hey, Oracle's here. Hey, how you doing? Robin Williams was on a roll after Mork and Mindy. Honestly, I haven't seen it in a long time, so it's probably like cringeworthy to watch now, but I used to really like Mork and Mindy. It's probably, if I watched it now, I'd probably be insufferable, because I do kind of feel like Robin Williams, he was great in dramatic roles, like later on. Like, he was great in, like, I love Dead Poets Society and 1 Hour Photo, and he was even good in Insomnia and stuff like that. A lot of his comedic roles, like, while I liked them at the time, sometimes if I watch them now, I'm like, holy shit, that dude was so coked up. Oh my god. Dan Michael said, Shelley Duvall was very pretty, even though I usually get outvoted on that. I always thought she was kind of pretty too. But see, the thing about it is that, I always thought Shelley Duvall was like, she's interesting looking. And I really like, there's something very attractive about women that are interesting looking, and men that are interesting looking. I kind of feel like, and I don't know, maybe I might have brought this up before, but like sometimes when you see kind of like, even nowadays, like, leading men, leading ladies, like big stars or stuff like that, a lot of them just look, they're good looking, but they look very generic. And a lot of times they kind of just like look alike to me. They like, I can't really tell one from the other. So I'm kind of more interested in like interesting looking people. And to me, like people that are interesting looking are like more attractive than like generically attractive people, if that makes any sense. So I always thought Shelley Duvall was really interesting looking. She has like a really interesting face. You know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And honestly, I know that when The Shining came out, it's Kubrick's movie, obviously, that a lot of people were like, well, that's not like the Wendy in the book and everything like that. But honestly, I really think the casting was really good. I cannot imagine anybody else in that role in that movie. I mean, she just looked like, her face just conveyed so much horror. Yeah, and it's because Kubrick was fucking abusing her on set. That's why. I mean, he put her through a lot of shit, like, to get that out of her, but, which is not good. I'm not justifying it, but, I mean, that is, like, an amazing performance. And to me, that, like, makes it scarier because she was so cowed and she was so submissive, and it's like she had that face where it's like you could just see, like, all the terror on it, and it was just, like, it was so great. It was so great. Oracle says, Jenny, I'm rereading a book you might enjoy, Gideon the Ninth, which has been described as lesbian necromancers in space. Holy shit, that actually does sound really good, doesn't it? That sounds really good. I'm gonna have to, like, look that up. I'm just look, I even have, like, a pen and a little pad of paper right here, so I'm gonna, like, write it down. That sounds good. I'm gonna get into that. All right, I'm gonna write that down. Lesbian necromancers in space. Okay. I mean, I know that's not what it's called. Oh, looked it up. It was not Butterbean. Oh, okay. It was a guy named Peter Bray. The guy was huge. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I thought by the time Butterbean came around, like, that would have been, like, way. Dan Michael said, yeah, interesting is a perfect word for her. That's what I like. Yeah, see, I tend to like that kind of thing, too. Like I said, I like people that are interesting looking. You don't have to be, like, conventionally attractive. I just like people that are interesting looking. You know what I mean? Interesting. Give me something interesting to look at. Not just, like, a fucking perfect jawline and shit like... No, well, not necessarily. But maybe some people might think it's ugly. But it's like... And
Shelley Duvall wasn't ugly, though. She was kind of cute.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what he was saying. He's like, he always gets picked on because...
No, she was kind of cute.
Yeah, she was kind of cute. And like I said, she's fucking great in The Shining. I can't even imagine anyone else.
They never
in that
show
role.
her made up either.
Yeah, because she's supposed to.
She's supposed to be kind of awkward.
Yeah.
That's why they hire her.
Well, it's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, everybody that's an actor in Hollywood, it's like everybody can't look like a fucking glamour puss because it's like that's not always what the role calls for. You need character actors, and that's what they call them. Which, in a way, is kind of like. I guess it's a backhanded compliment. If you're a character actor, it's like, well, you're not, like, good looking enough to be, like, a leading person, but it's like, I don't know. That seems like what they mean by that when they say character actor.
It depends on whatever theatrical traditions you're talking about. Like, China and Korea see our movies and they don't know what the fuck we're doing. They're like, I didn't pay to see these ugly motherfuckers. Literally. That's what Chinese people were saying.
They should watch some British movies sometime.
These people are too fucking ugly.
They should watch some British movies sometime because they actually legit just put, like, regular ass looking people in their movies, which I always liked.
The Chinese don't have that mentality at all. They're like, this is a low quality movie. I paid to see, you know, beautiful people and shit, and fucking everybody in the goddamn movie looks like a fucking superstar. That's just the way the Chinese see things. That's probably goes back. That's their traditions and that's their values, you know. Like, they were on that Midnight's Edge, or it wasn't Midnight's Edge. I don't remember what channel it was. It might have been Midnight's Edge. A bunch of people that were like ex-industry, and then other people who were just fans, nerd fans, said that they had kind of leaked some consumer fucking feedback from China, from the movie The Force Awakens. It didn't do that well in The Force Awakens. And Disney wanted to know why it didn't do that well. And the number one reason why the Chinese didn't like the movies, they said, first of all, they said the people were ugly. People were ugly. And then...
They're not, though, but okay.
No, they were talking about... No, they thought they were. They thought they were ugly. And they thought they didn't have any idea why there was an old man with a beard at the end. There's a bunch of shit.
Why are there old people in my movie?
People in here, yeah.
It's kind of like this. It's like some Logan's Run shit.
That's the one why they took that same poster. Jenny, I don't think Jenny really knows the full story about it.
No, you told me. I know.
The poster John Boyega, they shrunk him all the way down because they didn't want any black people on the poster. No, China just fucking, you know, they They're gonna.
I know. I'm just making a joke.
Do what
about
they
it.
want to do.
I'm just making a joke about it.
And now they evidently fucking don't want any American movies anymore. They don't even know if they have it, if they're getting them now.
Whatever. Crybaby says Sid Haig or Michael Berryman. Yeah, see, like, people like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's something kind of compelling about it. Like, Michael Berryman's kind of like, he's kind of weird looking, but he's interesting looking.
Sid Haig fucking evolved into a scary motherfucker, but he was funny at the same time, especially like
you should
Devil
see
Region.
Spider Baby. That was that was a movie that he was in like very, very young, when he was really young.
Well, I was gonna say that that one James Cameron movie that he was in when he was maybe 30. Yeah, he was a cool looking dude. What was the name of that one? Galaxy of Terror.
Yeah.
Where he played the dude in the crystals. He only had a few lines. But no,
yeah, he wasn't in it that long.
He was a cool looking dude.
Yeah, I always thought he was cool looking. I mean, I even think like people like. When I was growing up, I was even kind of into like I was like into weird looking actors like fucking John Malkovich and Steve Buscemi and people like that. It's like, which, you know, from some standpoint, it's like, yeah, they're not good looking like in the traditional sense, but, and I think some of it has to do with like their like the way they carry themselves and stuff like that as well. Because we've talked about this a lot. It's like, you don't necessarily have to look like a fucking fashion model. If you have like a really good, you know, personality and you kind of like have your own thing going on, like, and you seem confident and you just like whatever it is that you have going on with your, you know, with your looks or whatever, you just kind of own it, then I think that that's going to be a lot more attractive than somebody that's like super good looking but is also a douchebag.
Well, they're talking about Bollywood. A lot of that shit's fucking over the top too. Yeah, if you look at those Bollywood movies, first of all, they have to have a musical fucking act in every fucking Bollywood movie.
Well, it's like they have to have something for everybody, like in every single movie.
Have singing, dancing,
and it has to be like 3 hours long.
Yeah. And no, that's another one where fucking like all of the young people have to be fucking like super good looking. And then all the other supporting characters are real stereotypical, and yeah, it's tedious. Fucking Bollywood is fucking tedious, but the best Bollywood is when Bollywood making fun of Bollywood. That was fucking. There was one of them that we saw. Remember that horror movie? I don't remember. It was a Bollywood horror movie, and it was funny as fuck too. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, I know what one you're talking about.
It was over the top, and they were kind of satirizing what we're talking about with Bollywood, but I just don't remember what it was. A long time ago we saw that one.
Yeah,
it was worth seeing.
Yeah,
but it did all the fucking Hollywood horror tropes, and it knew it was doing it, and it pointed out that it was copying Hollywood horror movies. It was just fucking funny, and then they would make reference to Bollywood. Just, you know.
Well, see, I'm always kind of interested, because the thing about it is that Bollywood movies and stuff like that, like a lot of times, like movies that you see from other countries, you don't see like everything from those other countries. You only just generally see stuff that gets released over here, which are like bigger productions or stuff that they think is going to play over here. So you don't always get like a good representative, you know, thing of like what all movies they're making. But the thing about it is that horror movies, interestingly, the horror movies that I've seen from other countries, I kind of feel like horror is almost kind of like a universal kind of thing, because people all over the world are watching American and British, European horror movies. So we all have the same frame of reference. So a lot of times I'll see like horror movies from, you know, from fucking Turkey or something like that, but it still like has influences that you would recognize. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm talking about like a while back, like I think 2015 or 2016, there was this great fucking horror movie. I think it's Turkish actually. That was called, was it Turkish? That was called Baskin. And that's a fantastic movie. And you can tell that the guys that made that movie were real into Clive Barker, but they mixed it with like Zoroastrianism, like mythology. And there was also like, it was kind of surrealistic too. So it was like a little bit of like David Lynch kind of action going on there. And it was fucking great. It was a great fucking movie. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times at this point, and it's like it just keeps getting better every single time I see it.
I haven't seen it.
But yeah, you might like it actually. It's weird as shit, but it's like I really dug it. But Dermot says Nollywood is now a big thing. Now a big thing too. African movie industry based mostly in Nigeria.
Yeah. We used to watch the Nigerian movies on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean that's a few years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, they were doing it just for ad revenue. You could watch them for free. They were kind of samey, most of them, but some of them were funny, and they were they had a kind of Christian themes about possession and demons, terrible CG. But they were like kind of fun to watch, you know. Cause
they were super fun.
You can see, they're probably making the shit with just a phone. But it was, just to show you what you can do with no money. No money.
But see, that's what I like about it. That's why I always, because like I said, I love horror movies, and I love seeing horror movies like reinterpreted through other people's cultures. Mm-hmm. Like, because like a lot of times, like I said, they've seen the same horror movies because everybody around the world has seen like the fucking Exorcist and all that kind of stuff, like all the classics, and they all love that shit too. But it's kind of like filtered through their own cultural context, and I find that like really fascinating.
One of the ones that I saw was good. It was like a Nigerian gangster movie, and
I know, yeah,
all the guns were fake. So they just homemade guns. They kind of look like guns, though. You know what I mean? And they're CG, and they're using CGI to do the fucking.
Yeah. I think you can do that in After Effects.
Yeah, to do the fucking muzzle blast.
It has like the muzzle blast.
The dudes
effect.
are fucking falling like they're shot, and they're having a good time.
Yeah, as long as you look like you're having a good time, and you're just like, that's kind of the thing that I'm into. Like if the movie doesn't have to be that great, but if it was obviously made with a lot of affection and they're having like a good time doing it, then I'll have a good time watching it. You know what I mean? You're
making a gangster movie.
Mr. 88 said one notable Nollywood movie had a budget of $27. Probably true. Yep. Probably true. So they're talking about like Indian movies, and then Camp Guy said, I miss living in Atlanta. We don't have squat for Indian food in Chattanooga.
It's easy to make.
That's a shame. Yeah, and honestly, once you like learn a couple of like techniques of like making Indian food, you can make pretty much anything.
There's all kinds of Indian women on YouTube showing you how to execute those recipes, and a lot of Indian women are now using Instapots. Which
so many like cooking channels I watch, like they fucking love that shit.
Yeah, I bought one. And an Instant Pot is fucking good to have. And they'll show you how to make all those curries in an Instant Pot. And, like chickpea curries and all the different beans that they'll use. Even chicken kormas and stuff. You can do all that shit in an Instant Pot. It's like a pressure, I don't know if you know what that is. It's a pressure cooker. But you can take the top off and you can also turn it into a pot. Like a
you
saute.
Can use it for lots of other things.
There's different... Yeah, and you do it in a different order, but you can do it all in one pot, and then the rice on the side. Just when you're fucking with Indian food, you want to use basmati rice. You don't use any fucking American long grain bullshit. Basmati is what they're using.
I mean, jasmine rice will work too, but
it's not as good.
Yeah,
basmati that's the fucking. You want to use the best one I've found comes in a burlap bag. It's called Royal, and I've asked fucking Indians, what's the best rice? They go, Royal, Basmati Royal. That's their top brand right there. And it always comes out perfect. Always. I haven't had a bad fucking
I don't
pot
think
of rice come out of there. It always comes. And now what they'll do is you take butter and put it in the bottom of the pan, and then you put your herbs in there, bay leaf, maybe cardamom pod, piece of clove in there, a cinnamon stick. And just saute it in butter until it all starts releasing that brown stuff. And then pour that wet soaked rice in there in the water. Bring it to a boil. Turn it down low or off. Let it sit there 15 minutes or so. When you come back, it'll be fucking beautiful rice. Stir it. Be kind of brown. That can go with anything.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of lucky to have... really decent Indian restaurants around here. Like my favorite one is still Memories of India, which is in Lake Mary. But there's also a good one called Fifth Element.
Yeah. I wonder if they started that buffet back up.
I don't know. Yeah, they used to have a buffet, but it's
Buffet
like
was
then
fucking
during
great.
the pandemic they didn't. But the restaurant was still open, but they just didn't have the buffet anymore. But like I said, Memories of India is still my favorite. They like the lamb korma they make is fucking out of this world. That's what I get like almost every time we go. It's either that or like shrimp masala. I get that too. And they make their own mango ice cream, which is fantastic. I don't even like mangoes, and that ice cream is one of the best things I've ever eaten. But once, like I said, we kind of figured out. Well, Tom figured out like how to make some of the stuff. I don't think he's ever replicated the lamb korma, but he's replicated like pretty much everything else that they make at that restaurant. You know, it takes a while, but once you know how to make like one or two of the things, like the methods are pretty much the same. Like all that's different is like, you know, maybe the meat or the spice mixes, but they're mostly made like the same kind of way. Dan Michael says Indian food works good with wheat bread too if you find rice cooking to be a pain in the butt like I do. Of course, you can buy these minute rice cups that are actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean, we get the basmati rice in the big burlap sack. It's like a 20-pound bag, something like that. I don't remember how much it is, but we usually get it at the Asian market. And what you do is it's 2 cups of rice. You soak it. We put it in the cup, like 2 cups in the glass, like Pyrex cup. Then you soak it for a little while. And then you pour it into the pot. It's 2 cups of rice and 3 cups of water.
On what?
Making the rice.
For basmati?
Yeah.
You got to pre-soak
But yeah, I said that.
Pre-soak it and then strain it. 2 cups of rice. 2.5
2.5 cups or 3 cups?
Three.
That's what I said.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, 3 cups. 3 cups of rice. And then you
and 3 cups of
let
water.
it come to a boil, put it on the thing, like with the lid on it. When it comes to a boil, like when it comes boiling out, just take it off the heat. But that's it.
Yeah, just let it sit.
Just let it sit.
15 minutes.
Let it sit for 15 minutes, and it comes out like perfect every single time.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. All you got to do.
Thank you for bringing this up. I just remember something.
What's that?
I'm going to plant some of them curry leaves. Because now I can plant it.
You should, because we can't always get them. Like sometimes they have
growing them around. They were growing them.
Sometimes they have them at the Indian store, and sometimes they don't.
Right, and they're fresh, which means they can grow here.
Yeah.
But I'll plant that bush that makes them curry leaves. Man, if they just you get a string of that shit and pull them fucking leaves off like that and put that in your curry. Man, those things.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like almondy taste. Weird.
Well, we got them a few times when they had them, because the Indian market we used to go to, like, she grew them and she would bring them in sometimes like in bundles, and she'd have them behind the
bag.
She'd have them in big plastic bags like behind the counter.
Like, do you want some curry leaves? I said, yeah.
Yeah, she got some from her garden.
Yeah.
But they didn't have them all the time.
Right.
Because we added them to a few of the recipes. I'm like, God, hot damn, that's like really good. Because sometimes when you go to Memories of India, like they put curry leaves like in a lot of their stuff, and I'm like, man, this shit's really good.
Yeah.
But they didn't always have it at the Indian market. It was very hit or miss.
You can get them dry, but they're better fresh.
Yeah, they're much better fresh. So yeah, we should totally like grow our own.
I can grow 'em.
That would be a lot better.
Some kind of bush. I gotta look to see what.
Some kind of bush.
Yeah.
Grandpa
you know all
says-
about bush.
Not anymore, I don't.
Yeah.
But not for several years.
All right.
But Gramther said spicy goat vindaloo. Yum.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, honestly, I know, and goats are super cute, so I'm kind of like conflicted about
They're
eating
friendly.
them.
Yeah.
But I mean, their meat is.
They taste good though.
They do taste good.
Yeah.
Sorry, goats. Y'all are cute and everything.
They don't know what hit 'em.
I mean, pigs are cute too.
Yeah.
And I also eat pigs. So, and also cows are cute, and I also eat cows. So. What do you
I mean, fucking. This is a great place for a fucking rabbit pen, but like I said, I don't want to kill rabbits. I don't like killing rabbits because then you raise them and they're friendly. They're like little cats.
Like I said, it's like
killing
a
a cat. I'd have to be
And
really
Pookie
hungry.
would probably be like, "Look, it's a little bunny friend for Pookie."
So I don't want to get into our friend Angel grows them. You know what I mean? He kills them. Fucking bam, busts their little fucking heads off.
See, I can't
And
do.
like,
I'm not
you
that
know,
cold-blooded. Sorry.
Yeah. I got no problems with chickens and fucking fish and shit like that, but fucking
I can do fish, but I still think I'd have problems with chickens. But there's
they look
absolutely
too much like a cat.
There's absolutely no way I could do bunnies. No way.
Yeah.
I can't even watch like fake animals get killed in movies. I get upset. To be honest, or do you guys remember like a few months back, and I reviewed that Dario Argento movie Trauma? And there's a scene in that where a kid squishes a toke gecko. I couldn't even watch that.
What happened? He what?
He squished like a toke gecko.
Yeah.
And I was like, I used to have one of those for a pet.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I had to skip that scene. I can't watch it. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can't watch like... I can watch people get killed in movies all day long. I don't give a shit about people. But it's like when they start doing stuff to kitties and doggies and...
Yeah. Mr. 88,
like
yeah, I saw World Police. That was
yeah,
fun.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did
It
too.
was
Yeah.
good.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Michael Schaefer said, didn't Bush go out of style in the 70s? It might have been... Was it the 70s or the 80s? I feel like... well...
No, 80s.
I'm talking about porn. Yeah, I think like 80s porn, you started seeing it like phasing out.
Phasing out and fucking huge implants. That was it.
That was
80s.
when you started.
And 90s was mega implants. Then you do with like Tiffany Towers and those girls.
I wonder if they still have those big boobies.
No, they don't.
Or if they don't. Yeah.
They're still around.
Yeah, because they probably got like sick of that shit, like I said.
Well, Tiffany Towers fucking got smaller ones after that, and then she retired. They were still big though.
Like I said, if you just get it for porn, it's just kind of like I said, that's like carrying around too, like fucking luggage on your chest that you can't ever like take off at the end of the day,
like
end of the work day.
They were like our friends there that do the fucking cam stuff with the fucking huge.
Yeah, I know.
Moves. They like them, but it's fetish.
Yeah.
And I guess. In terms of the girls, I think in the 90s, the professional ones, I don't think they were doing it so much for fetish reasons, just for the money. And then it kind of went out of style, That attracts a lot of attention. So, and it doesn't look that good in clothes. If you see what those girls look like in regular clothes, they all look kind of fat. Even if they're fucking skinny, they look
That's
fat
what I'm saying.
Because then it hangs right on them.
That's another thing, is that you can't find clothes that fit.
Right.
And the clothes that fit, you have to buy everything like several sizes bigger than you would normally wear.
And then things have to be fucking tailored so the fucking shirts swing underneath the fucking boobs so it doesn't look like you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And then that's all.
I can see how that could get really
right. So they had to wear
really
shit, skin tight shit, as you know. But fucking, the two girls that we're talking about, I don't want to fucking mention their names or anything, but they
like that ever stopped you before.
They wear clothes that are like that. They're into that. It's the same thing as like dudes that fucking get freaky big on fucking steroids. That's also kind of a fetish, fucking weird body dysmorphia.
Yeah, up to a point.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a big advocate of like, look, whatever you want to do with your body, if you want to like tattoo yourself with snake scales and like split your tongue and stuff like that, more power to you. It's not my body. I don't really care.
I wouldn't do that. But
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but if you want to do it, if that's really what you want to do, then go for it. I'm not going to like do anything, and I'm not going to like fucking judge you or stare at you or nothing like this. You do you. Everybody's different. But I'm just saying, like, for me, it just seems like a lot of that kind of stuff, like I said, these fucking big giant, and I'm talking about like giant like beach ball kind of tits, that's kind of like, to me, that just seems like a fucking... God, that just seems like it would be such a pain in the ass. It would just be like, you couldn't find any clothes that fit. Everything would be just like, your back would hurt, your shoulders would hurt, like constantly. Like I said, you wouldn't be able to take it off, you couldn't see your feet, you couldn't like bend over. It just seems like it would be like too much.
Well,
it's just too much.
The only one that's kind of like that now would be like Penelope Black Diamond. You guys can look her up. She's a German entertainer. And she's kind of like a goth fetish type, and she's skinny, fucking huge implants. She wears skin tight stuff, and it's tailored for that. Which it looks good on her. But the thing is that no matter what she does, she looks like a porn star.
That's what I mean, and like that's another thing. You can't like go anywhere and have like a normal life because everyone's just gonna stare at you or harass you or something like that.
Oh, they won't harass you depending on where you go. Depends on where you go. Oh no, I don't think that. And her boyfriend's fucking huge.
Yeah, but she maybe has to go places by herself sometimes. It's like, look, I don't know if you've ever been a woman in your life, but you go somewhere with boobs that are kind of like just a little bit over the average, you're going to get harassed. I'm sorry, but that's just what's going to happen.
That's Germany, so I don't know if it's that bad in Germany. There might be.
I don't know. I can't speak for Germany. I've never been there, but I'm just saying that most other places I've ever been, yeah, that's gonna happen. And especially if it's like so big that it's like it's really, really noticeable. So that's kind of the thing. It's like, so you really have to kind of weigh like how much, because you think to yourself, well, it's like a fetish, but like, you know, people, you're only seeing her for however long it takes you to jack off, right? But it's like she has to live like that like 24/7.
Get us banned.
You know what I mean? We've said way worse than that on this channel, and we're still here, so I'm not worried about it. But and most of our shit doesn't even get demonetized, so
They don't even.
the only time that we get demonetized is usually when we talk about like really fucked up serial killers.
Yeah.
Then that way they'll be like, oh, limited ads. But that's pretty much the worst. I don't think I've ever had anything completely demonetized.
That's.
Yeah,
pretty
see,
looking
but
at.
it's like I said, yeah, I mean, that's pretty, I mean, you're whiting everything out, but yeah, okay.
That's who we're talking about. That's fucking huge.
Yeah, and like I said, just to me, that just seems like fucking a back problem waiting to happen. But like I said, I'm not here to like judge other people's, but if she wants to like be like that all the time, that's fine. But like I said, you know, you see her, you just see pictures or you just see porn of her or something like that, like
So
over
you
a
gotta walk
short,
around like that all the time.
that's what I mean, over like a short period of time. She's got to live like that all the time.
Yeah.
I can't sleep on my stomach. I can't go out anywhere without people fucking. But you know what I mean? It's
looking
just,
at her toenails, though. I think
for me, it just seems like that would be too much trouble. Just too much trouble.
looking at her toenails, I think that girl's just like that. She's fucking toenails, fucking 4 inches long, curling over.
Which, like I said, like I don't know.
She's
I'm just
freaky.
talking about and some
Okay.
people are.
Right,
And like
that
I said,
girl's fucking
I'm just
freaky.
saying, if you want to like get plastic surgery and make yourself look like a lion,
Yeah.
okay. What? It doesn't hurt me any, so why the fuck should I care? Do what you want. Do what you want. But I'm just saying, for me, that would just be like
Yeah.
way too much.
See, you have to look like that all the time.
That's what I mean. That would be
Yeah.
like way too much.
Yeah. You have to walk around like that because you put clothes on her and all of a sudden she's going to look crazy.
She looks, yeah.
She's going to look crazy, but she looks kind of normal like that.
I mean, you look good when you have
When you
really
don't
skimpy
have-
clothes on.
Right, but then you put clothes on
But it's like
her,
when you
she
put
looks-
normal clothes on,
She going to look fat.
you're going to look fat or you're going to look like
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Which is the first thing that I would think of.
Right.
To me, like I said, it just seems like too much trouble.
Yeah.
Seems like too much trouble. So, you know. Dan Michael said, back in the 70s and 80s, you still had male designers making jeans for girls. Women started looking better when the female designers took over. I still think nothing looks better than a dress. Yeah, I mean, depends on, like I said, a lot of things depend on the body style, because everybody has a different body style, and different body styles look good in different things. I've tend to find what I look best in, I think, is stuff that's cut like 50s style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like,
I don't know. You look good.
you know what I mean?
You look good in a lot of stuff, though. Just all depends.
I know, but I'm just saying my favorite stuff. That's why I've always been kind of more drawn to like kind of rockabilly kind of styles, because I like that kind of like 50s retro kind of look. I feel like that looks better on me, but everybody is different, so different shit looks better on different people. But the thing about jeans, though, is just kind of like, I don't know whose idea it was in the 80s. Some idiot's idea. In the 80s, let's make all the jeans super high-waisted, so it'll make every single chick that wears them look pregnant and also have a flat ass.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Somebody's asking why you soak the rice. No, you soak the rice because some types of rice need it. If you didn't soak the rice and then cooked it at the normal cooking time, it would come out and be hard. So what you're doing is you're soaking it to try to get some water down through the husks. Now, you soak the rice, but then you drain the water out of the rice. You run it through it. You have it. You're going through like a sieve. It's like it's like a sieve. And then you're throwing that wet rice into a hot pan. It's got butter on it. And you're using a rubber spatula, and you're kind of frying that hard rice for like a minute. And you're breaking down the outer husk, and then you pour the water in it, and it'll come out a lot tender, a lot better, a lot tender. Kind of, it'll have substance to it, but it'd be still kind of fluffy. Basmati would be hard if you didn't pre-soak it.
And I don't think you don't really have to soak it for that long a time. I've seen some like things that say, "Oh, soak it for half an hour or an hour." You don't necessarily have to soak it that long. We usually only soak it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've forgotten it before, and come back about a half hour later, and it comes back kind of mushy. It's too soft after you cook it.
We usually soak it about 5 minutes?
About a minute, not even.
Okay.
About a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
But you should soak it.
You can look and see,
like warm water.
You can see that the rice pieces of rice start off white, and then they slowly kind of get clear around the edges, and then about a minute later, and you see that some of the centers of them have kind of gone clear. And it's time to go. Then cook them, drain the water out of it, and cook it, fry it to kind of fucking. When it goes into that hot pan, you have butter in the bottom of it. Hot butter. And in the butter you can have spices or just butter. I like to have just butter. You can use oil too. Drop the wet rice into that oil or butter. It'll start sputtering and popping, and then you just use a rubber spatula and just kind of keep folding it for 30 seconds or a minute, and that'll kind of break down the outer husk of the rice. Pour the water in it, cover it. Reaches a boil, take it off the water. Take it off the fire.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. It's I think it'll
boil over. As soon as it boils over, just set it aside.
As soon as it comes out, from the sides of the lid, then just push it off.
Yeah,
that's it. Just push it off and just let it sit there.
Let it sit like tea. It'll sit there and steep.
Yeah, and then after 10-15 minutes, it'll be perfect. And we do it like that, and it just comes out perfect every single time. It never comes out fucked up. Dan Michael said, oh, wait a minute. Mr. 88 said, you know what fashion trend, I don't know why it happened? Everything in the 70s. Yeah, pretty much.
No, there were hot clothes in the 70s. It's just that...
Well, it depended on... You had to be like a skinny Coke.
You had to be skinny, and you had to be sexy, and you had to know what to buy and what not to buy. You had to know how to combine it. Some girls knew how to dress from that.
I have seen some cool shit from the 70s. But...
A lot of the problems with the 70s shit is that you got a girl trying to wear the wrong combination of shit, and that just doesn't fucking work. And there was also a difference between white fashion and black fashion. The pants that black girls were wearing were a lot better than the pants the white girls were wearing.
Well, gotta say, you watch some blaxploitation movies from the 70s, the fashion's way better.
Yeah, the black fashion was
what the white people were wearing
wasn't that good.
Not so much.
The bell bottoms that white girls wore were high-waisted. All right, and the bell went up past the knee and slowly tapered up to the fucking crotch, so you didn't have a flare at the bottom. The black girls wore low, like hip huggers. They were tight around the thigh, and then at the knee it flared out. Some white girls wore those, but mostly black girls wore those, and those looked a lot better. The average shit the white girls were wearing was. The cut was wrong. It was not flattering at all.
Well, like I said, I kind of feel like this is true of fashion of every era. Yeah. Unless you are really skinny, you really, most of the shit doesn't look good on you. And in the 70s, that for real was true. Like, if you were really, really scrawny, then some of that shit might have looked good on you. Anybody else, if you had any little bit of weight or if you were normal size or anything like that, that shit wasn't gonna look good.
Yeah.
Nope.
But I think on earlier episodes I even busted out photos and showed what I was talking about. Photos from the 70s. And just the average shit that white girls were wearing in the 70s. It's just pictures of girls walking around. It was not good selection. They didn't know how to select for what they had in it. And the cuts that they were using, you say, well, that's bell bottoms. No, they're not the bell. When you say bell bottoms today, it's like a hip huggers, tight around the thigh, and it starts to bell right after the knee. That's a typical iconic bell bottom. The thing is that particular bell bottom is what black girls were wearing. White girls, for the most part, didn't wear those. They wore a different cut of it, and it wasn't as good. And it was high-waisted, not low-waisted. So and then there was a skinny girl wearing the shit. And then right above the waist, it went past the belly button. Then she'd wear like a tube top. So there was about an inch of fucking skin going around, flesh. And then right above that would be like some kind of fucking tube top or what do you call it? Like a bikini top thing. But it just didn't look good. at all.
Well, the thing about tube tops and things like that.
Gumby. She looked like Gumby. Remember Gumby?
The thing about tube tops was that I think those really probably only looked good on real flat-chested or real small-chested women, because you had anything like a little bit larger, then the shit was going to sag, and you didn't really have any structure. There was no structure in the tube top.
They will only looked good. I'm going to disagree. They didn't even look good on flat-chested women.
I'm just saying if they looked good, that was the only person
those
that they
tube
would look
tops
at.
only looked good on real young girls that had real, like, big but hard boobs, or a girl that had fucking implants. And people don't realize how many implants were out there, especially in the California era. Implants were fucking common in the 70s.
But see, that's kind of what we're saying. You needed, like, because a tube top, you couldn't wear a bra with it.
You couldn't, your bra had to be internal.
So you needed to have some support. So you either had to be flat-chested, or you had to have implants.
Or you had to be genetically gifted and young. And that didn't last.
And still had, like, perky tits. And yeah, like I said, once you're in, like, your 20s or 30s, shit's going to start to sag.
Right.
And the shit, and I've seen some movies.
Yeah.
I've seen movies with, like, girls that had tube tops on in the 70s, and, like, shit's kind of, like, sagging, like, down there. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
People don't realize that, I've said implants. They weren't even implants. A lot of it was silicone infusion. The whole thing about putting silicone or saline in an implant bag and having that inside of a woman's chest was kind of a newer thing. I think that was actually more very late 70s, early 80s that they came out with that. Before that era, I think they just fucking took a big medical silicone in a damn IV bag or a syringe and just injected it right into the breast. That's how it was done in Japan, going back to the late 40s, early 50s. They were the ones that invented the breast implants or saline injection. And with silicone. And with silicone, it was cheap. And as long as it was sterile, they seemingly could mostly get away with it. But you couldn't do it in the United States because there was a failure rate, and some women would have allergic reactions to that, sometimes fatal. So FDA wouldn't allow that. But they did that in Japan for a long time. And then when I was living in Brazil, most of your fucking, I'm gonna say, professional women of the evening were silicone infusion. And it wasn't even fucking medical silicone. They were using industrial silicone, just injecting it with a syringe.
Probably not the best idea.
No, not a good idea. Well, they would try to heat it up to fucking kill bacteria that was in it. But still, man, that was never intended to be in a human being.
I mean,
you don't know what kind of container.
Doing that. No,
you don't know what kind of container that was stored in. Was gasoline?
That's what I mean.
Petroleum also in that, and heating it wouldn't get it. That wouldn't get those chemicals out of there.
You don't know.
You don't know what kind of container that was ever stored.
You don't know what the provenance of that is.
Right, and people have said, well, that'll get into the bloodstream. I've heard doctors fight over it fucking online about it, and they were saying that, well, what usually happened with the implants is that silicone implants is that eventually the silicone implant ruptured anyway, but the silicone was still trapped in place. It was better than saline because it was trapped in place, and because it couldn't penetrate the scar tissue that formed around an implant. So really what was containing it was not the implant. The scar tissue was containing it. And they said that was the same thing that was happening with just injecting it straight in. It just formed a scar around it that contained it into it. And the Japanese did it for a long time. But like I said, that's medical silicone. Do not do that.
I mean, I would like to think that we wouldn't have to say that, but you never know. Please don't do that.
But they got girls here that have gotten in trouble using the silicone tire sealant, injecting that into their asses. Those are girls from Brazil fucking doing it to women here.
I mean, how fucking desperate do you have to be, like, to have, like, a bigger ass? To, like,
it works. But it ends up having basically a big old knot, like like the fucking end of an eraser. You know, you're building an implant. You touch it, it would probably just...
I don't want a big ass.
Feel like a fucking... And then you got to sit on that.
That's what I mean. Like I said, you have to think, like, you know, whatever the reason you're doing, because some man told you to look good or whatever, it's like, you got to live with that shit 24/7.
Yeah. Well, they're making
You
money.
have to live with your entire life.
They tend to be strippers and fucking prostitutes.
Right, but that's just your job. Like I said, when you're not on the job, you still have to have that. You can't just like, it's not like some foxy fetish clothes or like uncomfortable boots that you can just take off at the end of the night. This is something that is in your body.
And there are also girls out there that just have booty greed. It's kind of like some girls have boob greed, other ones have booty greed, that their booty has to be bigger than their friend's booty. And this is mostly,
I never really looked that hard at my friends' booties.
Well, this is mostly African American girls doing this, and they want a big old booty. So the Brazilian girls fucking showing up with silicone tire sealant. Silicone tire sealant. And they fucking make an apparatus with a fucking large gauge needle on it, and they'll put that up in the booty like that, and they'll fucking do it, and they'll pump silicone tire sealant into a woman's ass. You stay just like that for 6 hours. And she's sitting on her fucking belly for 6 hours, letting that shit dry.
No thanks.
Yeah. And then give me $500, and then that's it.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I like my girlfriends just for their personalities. You know what I mean? I just like them because they're cool. Like, they're cool to hang out with. I've honestly never really looked at their butts all that closely. You know what I mean? Just never have. Let me see. Mr. 88 said the worst style thing from the 70s was oily skin. Check out any movie from that decade. See, I kind of wonder. I have wondered about this too. I don't actually know. I wonder if it was just because, we're going to have oily skin because that's more natural, or if it was just because they had shitty makeup for movies back then. I don't know. I can't really decide if it's one or the other, because it could be particularly movies that were lower budget. It could be just that they didn't really have a budget, or they didn't have the right lighting, or they didn't have a professional makeup artist or something like that, where it's just kind of hey, we got to get in there and powder her fucking face down because she's super shiny. I don't really know. I've always been, I remember from a very young age, I really do not like being shiny. And it's really, really hard not being shiny in Florida, because this fucking place, man, it's so humid. You're going to sweat your ass off. So you really have to I have to have powder, wherever I go, just powder, all the time, because otherwise you're going to be super shiny. Mr. 88 says, poor women, all the crap men put you through for something as frivolous as breast size. Yeah, tell me about it. It's just kind of I don't know. I'm getting to a point now where I'm probably too old for that shit, but I'm too old for this shit. Just like in Lethal Weapon. But, or whatever. But it's just kind of I don't know. I feel like women do it to themselves, too. You know what I mean? I don't think it's just dudes, but I think women do it to themselves because they want to look better than other women. But I guess that's also down to men. Well, that's also down to men. I want to look better I don't
think so.
No, it is.
I'm not getting bigger for men. I'm not getting bigger for women.
But no one's talking about you, though.
Women.
No, we're talking about women. We're not talking about men.
Women do it for their own. The women are doing it. The ones that are going through all that, because I saw whole programs on it. It's all fucking self-esteem. They want to fucking feel.
But like
good.
I said, self-esteem for some women comes from quote unquote men think I'm attractive. So you could go back to that too.
You're blaming men.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Men don't have anything to do with anorexia. Women are fucking have self-esteem and anorexia because they're anorexics.
Well, yeah. Well, that's anorexic. Anorexia is not usually, and like I said, I know
it's the same thing.
No, it's not though.
Exactly.
Because someone in my family had anorexia.
Yeah.
Anorexia is not necessarily what they look like. Anorexia is a control issue.
Yeah.
Anorexia is I live in a world where I don't have any control over my own life, and the only thing I control is what I eat, what I put in my body. Okay. So a lot of times them not eating and them losing weight and being skinny like that, it's not so much what they look like.
Okay. Well,
even though they do kind of have a little bit of body dysmorphia, where she thinks she looks bigger than she is, but usually it's a control issue. It's somebody that is their parents are super controlling or really strict, or they have some kind of like personality thing where they feel like they have to be perfect, or it's a control issue.
And I think it's the same thing.
It's a control issue.
And then I'm gonna agree with my other sources in the bodybuilding community that anorexia and bigorexia are about the fucking same thing. Bigorexia is just a word we made up. Motherfucker just can't get any bigger. You know what I mean? But he wants to be bigger than that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it is a mental problem. You know?
Yeah, and like I said, I wasn't even talking. I mean, you went off on like bodybuilding. I wasn't talking about that. And honestly, I think that that's probably the same thing as anorexia, but because, like I said, it's a control issue.
Right.
But it doesn't have anything to do with attractiveness necessarily.
Okay. Well, I don't think it has anything to do with attractiveness. I said that. I think it has more to do about feeling better about themselves, something about the way that they feel when they look. And I think anorexia, bigorexia, and those girls that are just fucking have super high amounts of boob greed, super high amounts of booty greed. I think it's all about the same. I think it's all about the same thing. And it's kind of like the same kind of deal as it forces people to do body mods. There are body mods out there, but man, some people just cannot stop getting tattoos. Some people can't stop cutting pieces of themselves off. You know what I mean? Dudes that want to fucking amputate legs. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's like
like I said, I don't think
like that. I
mean, to that point, like I said, people that are that extreme.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about just quote unquote attractiveness anymore. I mean, what we were talking about previously, like before you came in, was just kind of like just general attractiveness kind of stuff. What we're talking about here, like with anorexia or people that, do extreme body modification, that's usually a different thing. Like I said, anorexia, bigorexia, that kind of stuff, that's usually a control issue that comes from some other mental issues that they have. And honestly, people that get into a thing where they do like these extreme body mods, or like they can't stop doing body mods, that is usually a symptom of like an addictive personality.
Right. Okay.
And sometimes they have other addictions.
There's going to be a bunch of
that go along. And sometimes, like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist, but that sometimes there's like a lot of crossover with some other addiction
like that
behaviors.
That German porn star that I showed you there, that fucking. Your first reaction was that she's doing that for guys. And I says, well, it's partly her job, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. Because if you look at the other stuff that she's into, it's a fetish.
Well, like I said, I didn't say that about her in particular. Right. I don't know her.
Yeah, she evidently fucking loves looking like that. But like I said,
more power to her. Like some people do. And like I said, I'm not judging. Like if people want to do that legitimately, and they're just kind of like, hey, I'm into this, and I want to, and I know that I have to live with this like 24/7, blah blah blah. Then shit, like do it. Like I said, it's your body.
That girl's just a straight up fetishist. I mean,
it's your body. But like I said,
she grew her toenails out about 2 inches.
Is it just because she couldn't see them to clip them?
No, they're curled. They curl down.
I kid.
So when she puts those fucking platforms on, the fucking toenails go down the fucking front of the fucking platform.
I would think that you would be grossed out by that.
Yeah, I think it was gross. Yeah.
Because you're very grossed out.
Yeah, weird.
Tom is very grossed out by feet.
Weird looking. I think it's really weird looking.
Tom is grossed out by feet.
Yeah. Really weird looking.
I mean, unless you're a foot fetishist, I think most people are mildly grossed out by feet. Because feet are really usually not that attractive unless you're into that, unless you're Quentin Tarantino. But like...
Well, she has nice feet as far as feet go, but the fucking nails are just fucking like...
out of control.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if that's your issue, if you're into that... Yeah. Then, like I said, and I'm not saying like across the board that like every woman
that takes forethought.
That gets like super huge implants or something like that. I'm just saying that personally, for me, that's all I said was
maybe they're fake, but they look real to me. They might be press-ons or something.
Can you even buy like fake super long like
I don't know
press-on toenails?
They look real to me. They look real.
I have never seen press-on toenails. I'm sure they sell them somewhere. Yeah. I'm sure there's like some kind of like because I've learned that pretty much anything that I can think of, as fucked up as it is, somebody is selling it somewhere and somebody is buying it. I know there's press-on nails because I have those, but press-on toenails? Never thought about it.
Okay, well...
Never thought about it.
I'm going to... let's go ahead and start moving the show along. It's almost time for us to start getting ready.
Yeah, we got to start getting ready to go. because we got to go about 9:30, and it's 8:38, so we still got like a little bit less than an hour.
I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us before we go to the club. We're pre-gaming with us. You guys have a nice night. This is a Friday night. Have fun on the weekend. And we'll see you guys when Sunday. We'll see you
evening.
Sunday, people.
And we'll probably be talking about The Untouchables.
Okay, yeah.
Because, like I said, right here, Louis has this movie. So we'll probably watch it tomorrow night and do a review of it on Sunday. So have a good weekend, everybody, and we will see you guys again on Sunday. Bye.